Hey, welcome to the show before the show, where I check to make sure everything's working. I'm your host, Patrick Marlad, your local game guy, followed by co-host and also local gamer, Will. Hello, Will.
So,
Not much, man. This has been a fun week. So my job requires I work 40 hours a week, and tomorrow I only have 4 hours to work. So it's a nice short day. Still a long-ass commute, but a nice short day. I'm happy to get that out of the way. I just need to film testimonials in this space, so super chill. Excited to be able to relax a little bit tonight. Obviously spend a good portion of the evening discussing OTJ. There's a lot of ground to cover because there's so many legendaries and a lot of legendary reprints that you're going to see that we're going to be weeding through. But Will, how's your Friday?
it's been good. It's been good. I finally made it through my crazy freaking week, and I just have to deal with the DMV tomorrow, and then I'm clear for the most part. I don't have to deal with any more chaotic stuff for a while.
Nice. And I mean, wait, is this for your motorcycle? Am I
Yes.
okay? Okay.
Yeah, I did motorcycle training in like June, July of last year. Didn't have the time to go up to the DMV until December. Got up there in December. A whole bunch of crazy stuff happened, and they ended up not sending me my license. I asked for a replacement license, and they said, sure, $20 more. And I'm like,
No.
no. So I'm currently working through that.
The principle. But also, why? No. That's so stupid.
So they have a policy where they won't resend a license if it's been past 45 days since you went into the DMV. And I was told, since I went up there at like December 20th, that due to the chaotic stuff going on with mailing system for the season, it could take upwards of 2 months. So I waited the 2 months and then was told, oh, since you waited the 2 months, you're past the usual thing and you have to pay $20.
That's so
I'm like,
stupid.
okay, cool. I guess I'm gonna try to talk to a supervisor tomorrow to see if I
Hopefully
can just
sort that out.
request a new one and not have to pay the $20.
So I have my motorcycle license, and I also have two parking spots in the city. And one of them is next to Madison Square Garden. One of them is in my humble neighborhood. But I have this strong urge to get another motorcycle for no reason, Will. And I need to find something else to fill my interest fast. That isn't several thousands of dollars. But there's a video. I watch Fort9 every now and then. I'm subscribed to them. It's a good motorcycle channel. They have really good informational stuff that's also entertaining. And they were talking about a Yamaha or a Suzuki DR650, and it just seemed so cool. It has this dirt bike aesthetic, but it's more than road worthy, highway worthy. Although it would be at the top end of that bike's, range, really. But I was so tempting. I was it's only $6,000, but well, maybe a little bit more than that. But you don't have a motorcycle yet, do you?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, speaking of saddles and hogs, we've got quite the set for you guys. We're going to be discussing Outlaws of Thunder Junction, but specifically all of the legendaries from the set from the perspective of competitive Commander players. However, we do have a little category for those casual players. It is our C tier, obviously. D for don't. And if you want to see what the rest of the tiers are, it is in the description. We can go over those briefly for you, but just do yourself a service and hit the click, see more button or whatever it is, just to read what our tier list is. But S all the way through D. S is cEDH viable. A is competitively viable, but we wouldn't say it immediately fits into the spot. B is also there, but it's more niche or has a very specific strategy or specific subset of cards that might hold it back.
B for build around.
B for build around is a good way to put it. C is casual but also fun. C, there might be a legendary that seems completely jank, as the kids say, but would be fun to play, so we put that in the fun C territory. And sometimes with our D tier, which is don't, you're going to see a 5-color commander, or you're going to see a commander that's like, oh, this is an outlet for food chain. And it's like, well, we've got like 20 of those, and those are better. So
if it's a food chain outlet, it always goes in B at the very minimum.
maybe, but you get what I'm saying. If it's a commander that does something similar to another legendary that you could potentially be playing that would be better, we'll just encourage you to use that instead. Great transition. Thank you, Cameron. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll let you guys know if I get another motorcycle. I like the ride of my Triumph, but I'm not, I don't know. I don't know if I'm in love with the motorcycle. It's a really cool motorcycle. Have I shown you pictures of my motorcycle?
I don't think you have.
All right, well, the world will see. Hope I don't slide in any photos you shouldn't be seeing. Hold up. There you go. This is my bike. This is from a photo shoot. Don't ask me why. It had nothing to do with the bike, though. But yeah, it's a really cool street twin. I like it. I just want a heavier. I don't know. What am I trying to say? I want a proper cruiser. I think that's kind of what I want in my life. That or that, yeah, Suzuki. But at any rate, I think we're pretty good to start this. Guys, let us know how your week is going. Obviously, if you're excited for OTJ, if you'll be attending any pre-releases, what cards you're looking forward to. We could go through a proper set review as well. That video would be even longer than this one, I suspect. But we've got a lot to cover with our legendary, so we might as well jump into this one. Well, hey, welcome to Local Game Group. I'm your local game guy, Patrick. I'm joined by co-host Will, and today we're going through the legendaries of Outlaws of Thunder Junction. So we have them up on the screen now. We switched tier systems. If you followed us for our other tier programming, we've used Lomo in the past. We're on a new one today called tiermaker.com if you're curious. But we have all of the new legendaries down here. We'll be sorting through them as we go along in color order. So in case you want to use a chapter after this video, it should be sorted by colors. So very easy to follow along with if you're looking to jump to a particular legendary. The resolution on this tier maker is actually really good, but I'll probably stick to Scryfall for the most part, tried and true, as we go through these. However, when you do sort through these, and someone I'm sure will know, when you do sort through these, we're going to see some reprints that pop up in the commander sets predominantly. We're going to ignore those. If you want to talk about Gonti, Lord of Luxury, though, I suppose we can. At any rate, well, any thoughts before we jump into this one?
I feel like this is going to be the set that has the least B tiers out of everything else, out of every other set that we've had in a while.
The least B tiers?
Yeah, because I think we're either going to have a lot of C and D or a lot of A and S.
So I put a little bit of a meme in the. That's interesting. Yeah, guys, give us your predictions of how many. And this is something I guess we should always do, but how many S tier legendaries do you think we're going to discover from this set? What I like to do with these community-based videos, all of these live streams, is involve your input, particularly when we're stuck on where a legendary should land on our tier list. So please feel free to communicate with us in the live chat. We're going to be discussing, again, all of the legendaries, and we'll stop at every single one. If you guys have a point to make, you're going to have an opportunity to do so. But why don't we start in Wooburg order with white. With Fortune, Loyal Steed. All right, well, I'll read this off. It's great. It's grand. 2 generic and a white. 2/4 body. Beast Mount. Okay, new subtype. We already know what we're expecting. When Fortune Loyal Steed enters the battlefield, scry 2. Okay. Whenever Fortune attacks, while saddled, at the end of combat, exile it, and up to 1 creature that saddled it, right? You could saddle with multiple creatures. In this instance, it's a saddle cost of 1, which is equivalent to its power, the creature that's saddling it. Okay. Then return those creatures to the battlefield under their owner's control. So it is a flicker effect, and it's instantaneous. It's at the end of combat, and they don't come at the end of turn. They come back immediately, so they're there for main phase 2 if that's relevant, or if for some reason you're using a deck and this is in the body of it and you have multiple combats, it's at that main phase. I don't know, this doesn't seem bad. I guess I'll give my 2 cents first here. If you're using creatures that have decent ETBs, namely, and I was Will and I were briefly talking about this card off screen, but if you just had a guy that was letting you net cards like a draw effect, which there are tons in white and just artifact base, then you could, scry and then value draw, and you get your card quality mixed with your, your card quality with your card quantity. What am I trying to say? You're getting a draw in the aftermath. So there are some fun things you could do here. And you might think, well, oh, shoot, Fortune doesn't have haste. Well, it's like you already whip the attack out anyways. So basically they come back as blockers. They're not tapped, if I'm not mistaken. So they're a virtually vigilance, right? You were joking about that earlier, Will, but they're virtually vigilant, and you get to do whatever they're doing. But it is mono white. It's a 2/4 blocker, which is, again, decent. I think we always point this out, but it's always good to have blockers for Tymna. I don't think this is bad. I don't think this is bad.
I think this is D. I think Fortune is D.
It's a build around D.
The reason why I think that Fortune is D tier is because if you want to play flicker on attack stuff, play Brago, and then you get blue as well. If you want to play a really good utility flicker, play Livio, and then you can protect your stuff, move around your stuff, and you can prevent removal, prevent board wipes, like dodge a million different things, and turn off your stacks pieces when you want and turn them back on. Fortune is like the worst version of every single flicker commander that you would want. So I don't think Fortune is good at all. I'd say it's D tier.
Whenever it attacks while saddled at the end of combat, so it specifically triggers on the attack, lives, and then at the end of combat. So it's so weird. It's not on damage, right? Which might have been a cleaner way to just say this. I don't know. D, I think, is fine. I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate it. I think it's kind of cool. I'm a fan of playing mono white list, but I do think it's a little too much effort. Play Yes Man from Fallout if you want to go mono white.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, we have Fibblethip. Do you want to alternate here? You want to read this one off?
Sure. Fibblethip, Lost on the Range. 1 blue for a legendary creature homunculus with 1 power, 1 toughness, and ward 2. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. The top card of your library has plot. The plot cost is equal to its mana cost. You may plot non-land permanent cards from the top of your library. It's really, really cool. It's another future sight effect in the command zone to some degree. And Ward 2 means that he's going to stick around and not be removed very easily. The issue is, you can't do the future sight combo you like because you have to wait a turn before you can play that Sensei's Divining Top. So it isn't an infinite loop. It's just a really good draw commander because you can filter through the top of your deck and go fast mana, fast mana, fast mana, fast mana, fast mana, hold up. Next turn, play all the fast mana, do stuff. I think that he's really fun and casual because being able to just go, plot this, plot this, plot this, plot this, plot this, pass turn, okay, next turn, plot, 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 pass turn, plot, 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 and then eventually just go, okay, I'm going to cast 20 spells for free, Storm. That's going to be fun. That's not going to be competitive.
No. Ward 2, though.
Yeah, Ward 2.
Do you like those conveniently placed cacti? Is he plotting
on the
those?
side?
No, he's just framing them perfectly. D?
C.
You said C for casual?
Yeah,
fine.
because you can do fun Storm stuff with this in casual or Paradox stuff. It's C.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's interesting. We both got a saddle. If you haven't been following along with this recent set, we both got a saddle card and a plot card, which are 2 new mechanics. If I'm not mistaken, the Flesh Right, this is a new card for us. So let's look at Geralf, the Flesh Right. For 2 generic and a blue, 2/3 body, human wizard, warlock. Please. Whenever you cast a spell during your turn, other than your first spell that turn, so this could be your second or third or fourth, create a 2/2 blue and black zombie rogue creature token. Rogue, relevant tribe for this set.
Outlaw.
It's an outlaw. Bam, bam. Whenever a zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it for each other zombie that entered the battlefield under your control this turn. See, to me, this seems like a cool casual storm commander, and potentially non-casual. I don't know. Like, what could you do with the Klondike bar?
Well, this
In
is
this
a commander that
situation.
literally has more or less storm written on the card in blue. So
Right.
if you get Geralf out as your first card per turn, then you go, okay, cast make a 2/2, cast make a 3/3, cast make a 4/4, cast make a 5/5, cast make a 6/6. Let's see, that's 10
Right.
10. So it's 20 power in one go if you get a high enough storm count. So
All of the use all of the frantic search style effects, or like, untap your lands, untap your resources to get the ball rolling, because you could literally make a huge ass army with your ISO rev loop. There's a bunch of cool stuff you could do with this.
yeah, it's Geralf is really cool. The issue is Beats good enough as a win con in blue, and that's
Um,
a little bit iffy.
I want to say
But
that this is the best at doing it, though. Am I wrong? Like, I just want the bodies too. Like, there's plenty of stuff you can do with bodies. Black really cares about the zombie subtype moreover than blue, but if this was Demir, this would be really cooking.
yeah, if this
Man.
was Demir, we'd just do really dumb tutor stuff and black buff effects. But
Right.
still,
Instead of
in card, I think casual more likely than not, but there is
Yeah.
potential for it to get into B.
I want to put it into C and like potentially B. I think Geralf is honestly not bad. To be perfectly frank with you guys, this is what I've missed. Like, I didn't see this legendary. I really like it though. It's easy to put down. Blue is the right color for this, strategy. Basically, what Will was saying, Storm. That seems so fun. Obviously, any sort of like +1/+1 manipulation effects would be really cool here too. But again, like we're just out of range. I guess
Yeah,
like
so
black
many
and
people
green.
so many people say the Ozolith as recommendations in a ton of decks. This deck wants the Ozolith.
Yeah,
Oh no,
there you
you
go.
board wiped me. Okay, I'm gonna move the 20 counters onto Geralf next time I play him. You're dead.
Yeah, Cameron's like, too bad there's no partners with Gissa. Yeah, that would have been sick. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. It just doesn't make sense for this particular set. But yeah, and also just a themed partner saddle creature would have been really funny with the theme, but we didn't get that, or partners with even. But that's okay. I like Geralf a lot. I'm gonna put it at C, but in my heart, it's maybe a B. We're moving past Octavia, Toleran, Fane the Broker, and we're gonna go right to Gissa, as you've
Yes.
mentioned her.
Speak of the she-devil and she shall appear.
Yeah.
Gissa, the Hellraiser for 3 black, legendary creature, human warlock. That's an outlaw. 4 power, 4 toughness with ward 2 and pay 2 life. Skeletons and zombies you control have +1/+1 and menace, and whenever you commit a crime, you create 2/2 tap black blue zombie rogue creature tokens. Trigger only once per turn. Very
Geralf
fun
is just way better. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Geralf is way better. This is more fun as like a zombie tribal commander because you get roughly 2 zombies a turn, give all your zombies +1/+1 and menace. So and ward is actually pretty decent. So
Yeah.
this is a solid C, whereas Geralf is like maybe a B, but this is probably a C.
I just hate that she's 5 mana for this.
Yeah.
That just seems
You can
excessive.
put her in D if you want, because we do have a bunch of other zombie commanders that are about as good or better.
Would you say there are better zombie commanders in casual?
Yeah, we have like Esper ones, we have Demir ones, and we have Mono Black ones that are probably better than Gissa, because committing a crime is usually not something that you want to run cards in your deck to do. You rather have a commander that commits a crime and then you run the commit crime cards.
Right.
So wanting to commit crimes with Gissa feels unfortunate, but I will say committing a crime is still very good and a combo potential
Well,
effect.
it just encourages how you deck build, right? Like committing a crime is any form of... Well, there's the reminder text on the screen for you. I like that it's encouraging that kind of deck building, but I do think that this is too high a requirement. Has there been a good Gissa yet? Like, I'm kind of upset. I like this character.
I think we've had a few decent Gissas.
This ain't one.
Um,
This ain't one, sadly.
yeah, we have
What's
the
next for it,
Gissa
though?
that's bring back your opponent's stuff with decay, and
Mm,
then we have the broken Gissa that
mm-hmm.
is sack another creature. You create X 2/2 black zombie tokens, where X was the sacrificed creature's power. So that's the Gissa that you is like the zombie commander because you're just like, okay, I sack a 5/5 and I make 10 power worth of zombies and they all get anthemed. So it's actually like 30 power worth of zombies. Good game.
So not the one we were talking about. There is a much
Not
better warlock, though, that we might potentially be talking about here. Karavek, the Punisher.
yep, yep.
Not to be confused with that Punisher. For a generic and double black human warlock, 3/3 body, whenever you commit a crime, there we go again, exile up to one target black card from your graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy. If you do, lose 2 life. Alright, Will, give me the combo. What are we doing? We're gonna Tainted Pact and then get our Thassa's Oracle, then Tainted Pact again? And I can't do that here.
I
What
will say
is
this is probably not going to be a combo commander, but this could be a storm commander because we had Kess as a commander that people tried making functional, and this is Kess with 2 less colors, which hurts. However,
what do you mean? Wait, Kess the Grixis one? She
yeah,
was
Kess,
CDH she was CDH playable for a long time.
yeah, yeah. She disappeared as we got more and more
Right.
things though
As
that are like good
people
Grixis control. But
just wised up to partner pairings. But yeah.
yeah, but
Like, oh, this is just
with this,
infinitely
however,
better.
yeah.
Sorry.
We have a
Go.
Black Storm with this commander, which is actually pretty decent because you double up on your rituals, you double up on your tutors, and you just need a couple target effects. Which also, the one infinite commit crime card that we do know about is in black. So,
What's it name? Is like the devil
Dream Eater
guy
or Eater of Dreams, one or the other.
here, guys. Infinite. Oh, Dream. I think it's Dream Eater.
But
Nope.
even if you don't get Eater of Dreams or Dream Eater, it's
Eater of the
still
Dead. Eater of the
Eater of the Dead.
Dead. Untap Eater of the Dead. Remove target creature card in a graveyard from the game. So there needs to be one creature in one graveyard. And the trick is, while the ability's on the stack, you go to untap Eater of the Dead. It's totally fine if it's already untapped. You can do this functionally as many times as you want. You're going to want to Entomb Reanimate this sucker, but that's basically it. So as Will was saying, you can do that, infinitely. So it's kind of cool.
But if you have anything that just incidentally commits a crime, like Orcish Bowmaster or a couple other effects, you can just double up on all of your good cards, get a ton of value, maybe storm off after you get a high enough grave count. And yeah, I think that
System,
Karavek
right?
is a playable cEDH commander potentially, but is
On the lowest end of that rung.
yeah, like the lowest B, just
I think
barely
the
over Drolf.
I feel like he's the lowest B, but the lowest B should just go into C. Because
We
I
can do
feel
that if
like
you want.
B, yeah, because like the Bs I would actually play. I don't think I would go for Karavek.
Yeah, he's
Up,
better in
up,
the 99.
yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. But we got another one to talk about, Will, and well, I should have mentioned Warlock, by the way, relevant, relevant. This next
Yeah.
guy also relevant. Got a Rogue. You want to cover Tiny?
Yeah, we got Tiny Bones the Pickpocket for 1 black. It is a 1/1 Death Touch skeleton rogue legendary creature. Whenever Tiny Bones deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-land permanent card from that player's graveyard, and any mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. So, when I initially covered this card way back when the set was being spoiled, I said, oh, you can keep casting your opponent's demonic tutor over and over again. I'm just going to state, no, you can't.
Mm.
You do have to choose a permanent, But
I just want to, I'm sorry, before you continue, I want to double back on, there was a comment about Eater of the Dead. It untaps during the resolution of its ability. You can activate the ability whether or not Eater of the Dead is tapped. However, if Eater of the Dead is untapped when the ability resolves, the ability won't do anything. All that's really relevant here, though, is that we're committing the crime.
well, it's part of it is the text that we showed on screen as the text on the card is not accurate
Right.
to the
It
actual
is.
effect.
Right. It is this.
Yeah, it's pay 0 for the cost, and then it's if this is tapped, exile target creature from a graveyard and untap Eater of the Dead.
So weird. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure if you can still name a target
Exile target creature card.
even if it's untapped. It may be able to use its effect if it's untapped, which let's see.
Well, there's got to be a reason it's $13, right? Bowmaster, Waste Not, and Black Wheel. You mean the
Okay, so
Dark
you
Deal?
can activate the ability whether or not Eater of the Dead is tapped. However, if Eater of the Dead is untapped, then the ability resolves, the ability will not do anything. So you can do the Eater of the Dead combo without having this tapped. It's just the creature won't be exiled. Nothing will happen. Except you'll be committing a crime.
Right. A pointless one. You get caught in the act, but it's still a crime in the game of Magic. Sorry, Will. I definitely cut you off there. Please continue with Tiny Bones.
Yeah, so with Tiny Bones, this is a surprisingly really good card for the 99 at minimum, because you can put Tiny Bones into any control deck and pull back all those stacks pieces that your opponents have lost. And then eventually you have your opponent's opposition agent, you have your opponent's Drannith Magistrate, you have everything that people don't want you to have. And in a really bad scenario where somebody's potentially going to win the game, you can just say, hey guy with 3 creatures in play, can I hit you to get back your Eidolon of Rhetoric or Archon of Emeria? And then you get that stacks piece that stops the guy from winning. This is the ultimate politic card that we've gotten in like 2 to 3 years.
You want it in the 99, though, is what you're saying.
Yeah, more or less. It can do work in the command zone because you just do mill, discard, and other things like that, and then you start building up your opponent's value engines for yourself. So, still good in the command zone, but not as good as in the 99. I'd say.
Can we put this in B just because it's notable for the 99? I don't think this is like
Patrick.
Yeah, well, I mean, we do this with some cards, I should say. Things like Delny kind of work their way onto the list or a little bit higher because of how functionally good they are. But if we're going to keep this strictly to the command zone and not the 99, I don't know if this is like Pubstomp mentions Ragavan in the comments, and Ragavan's one of those legendaries that is sort of, you just throw it in your red list because it's ramp. It's a good value piece. I don't know if Tiny Bones is quite the same. Like, he doesn't always have things to hit, especially early game. Like, a turn 1 Tiny Bones is maybe not that great, right?
Yeah, but it's the later the game goes, the more insane Tiny Bones gets. Whereas with Ragavan, it's like, oh yeah, the later the game goes, the more useless Ragavan gets.
Right. Well, it's either they let you get that thing back or they block it and lose whatever, right? I would put this in D.
Yeah, I'd say D for the commander specifically.
Yeah, that's fair.
If we were saying for the 99, I'd say S. I think it's a
You
new
still
staple.
like it? S for skeleton, huh?
Yeah, no, S for staple.
I don't know if I'm gonna put this in every blacklist. We didn't put it in Gitrog. He can
You don't
even
need
ride Gitrog.
You don't need it in every blacklist, but you don't play Diabolic Intent in every blacklist, but it's still a staple.
No, but you play the One Ring in every blacklist. Nearly. Except for Gitrog when you have Wall of Blood. Next we have Vadmir. Check out those headlights. New Blood. For those are actually just lanterns or glowing orbs that are following him. For a generic and a black, Vampire Rogue 2/2 body. Whenever you commit a crime, Black loves committing crimes in this game? That was weird to say. Put a +1/+1 counter on Vadmir New Blood. This triggers only once each turn. Wow. Okay. You got to go to 5 mana if you want to get like a decent commit crime ability. As long as Vadmir has 4 or more +1/+1 counters on him, he gets Menace and Lifelink. This is kind of cute. This is like a new take on the big, small thing get bigger. We've
Yeah, I
seen,
mean,
many of these over the course of the game. I think that this is not for our format.
yeah, I'll say if you have Orcish Bowmaster in play, Vadmir gets
Mm-hmm.
really big really quick. But
Mm-hmm.
it's still way too slow because even as like a beats commander, if you want to do a 2 mana beats commander, you do the Ghost Council, like what is it, Karloff, and then
Mm-hmm.
whenever you
Mm-hmm.
gain life, you put a counter on it or 2 counters on it. That's better. That's way better than this.
And this is D, right?
Yeah, this is D.
Okay. I'm fine with that. Moving on to
We have
Calamity.
Calamity Galloping Inferno. 4 red, red for legendary creature horse mount with haste, battle 1, 4 power, and 6 toughness. Whenever Calamity attacks while saddled, choose a non-legendary creature that's saddled at this turn and create a tapped token copy of that creature. And sacrifice that token at the beginning of the end step. Repeat the process. So tapped an attacking token, you get 2 of them instead of the 1 for Kiki Jiki. But I gotta say, it hurts that you have to make the token tapped and attacking, and you can't just make the token straight up. So you don't have Bellringer, you don't have Combat Celebrant, you don't have like 90% of the things that you want to do with Kiki Jiki. You just have Port Razor.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is that really it?
Yeah. Well, Port Razor, and I think there's a demon that does the same thing as well. So you have 2 combo pieces with this that you can't search at all. So this is D. maybe C. It's still a fun thing for like just make a bunch of tokens of really good things. But
I think we got Kiki for that, my
yeah,
guy. I don't know. Kiki's a goblin. Goblins are cooler than horses. I'm sorry if you're a horse person.
yeah, agreed.
But even when the pony's on fire, okay, it doesn't do it for me quite like Kiki. I'd rather break a mirror than gallop on an inferno. Anyways, one sounds less painful. Um, would you rather gallop on an inferno or punch a mirror, Will?
Well, do you have to punch the mirror? You
Well,
can
I
just
mean,
look
I
at it
guess
with an
you're.
ugly face. That's the implication.
Is that how he's breaking mirrors? She's breaking
Yeah.
mirrors? Okay.
I don't know
Well,
if
then,
I think Kiki's a guy. I'm not
I
100%
don't know
sure on that,
either.
but
I don't
Kiki's a
know. I'm
guy.
just covering my bases. Magda, though. Magda's a chick. Let me tell you.
Are you sure about that?
I really don't know. Don't all dwarves look the same? Isn't that a joke?
You know how you know that it's a female dwarf? No beard.
Is that how? Or she just
Yes.
shaves and uses it as a pelt? That's what I'm seeing here. No, that was the joke in Lord of the Rings. I think when they extended ones, Gimli's talking to the Shield Maiden of Rohan. He's like, "Yeah, yeah, all the women look just like the men because of their beards." Anyways, not to apply Lord of the Rings lore and logic to magic, but Lord of the Rings is in magic, so I guess I can now. Magna, the Horde Master. We talked about her a little bit not too long ago, but we're looking at her in the CZ specifically now. Generic and a red 2/2 body. Whenever you commit a crime, create a tapped treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Poo poo. Sacrifice 3 treasures. Create a 4/4 red scorpion dragon creature token with flying and haste. Activate only a sorcery. So once per turn, only a sorcery. D for dwarf.
Yeah, D for dwarf. Play OG
Um,
Magda over this in the command zone.
yeah, 100%. Female dwarves have beards. I'm pretty sure they do. I think they kind of are breaking tradition here. I don't know. Well, I guess we could. Maybe I need to go into the character creator in Baldur's Gate 3 and just see like what they do with dwarves. I made a halfling in that game, but I don't think I dabbled with the dwarf creator. But I would say that that's like a good base to assume magic knowledge. I mean, it's the same company. At any rate, we've got Bristly Spine from
Bill.
Bristly Bill.
Yeah, Bristly
That's
Bill,
cute.
Spine Sower. 1 and a green for legendary creature, Plant Druid with 2 power, 2 toughness, landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and you can pay 3 green, and then double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. This goes in the 99 of a lot of casual decks, maybe 1 or 2 competitive decks, as we saw with the Gitrog. But in the command zone, nah. Nah.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you can do a very fun beatdown green deck with this because you can put the counters onto Bristly Bill, pay 5 once or twice to make him 21 power, hopefully, and then kill people. So there's potential to make a dumb cEDH deck with Bristly Bill, but there's potentially just better Voltron commanders. There's better ways to scale up faster, and he doesn't have any kind of built-in evasion or trample.
Mm.
Maybe C, but more likely than not D.
Guy threw him in D.
Yeah.
I'm
You
not
have more fun
feeling.
land things
I'm
than
not
give
feeling
counter.
Bill. Yeah, it's just I don't know. He's fine. He's not. He's not doing too. He's not doing enough for me. Sadly, I think the cost of his ability to double tokens is just a little too high, especially when it's limited to +1/+1 counters. But maybe it would have been too good. I think again, this set is not for commander players necessarily, so it's fine that not every legendary hits. But deeper druid. We've got Gem, Lightfoot, Sky Explorer, uncommon. Oh, let's see where we land. So we're in Azorius with 2 generic, 3/3 body, human scout, flying vigilance, good rate. Pretty solid. At the beginning of your end step, if you haven't cast a spell from your hand this turn, draw a card. Imagine if this was at the beginning of each end step. I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
Man, because that is such a fun. God, I would love it if there was a control commander in Azorius that just did that. But I think there are better. I mean, what is it, Rashmi? There are better kind of card quality commanders you could be playing. I don't hate this still, but I do think it's a little weak relative to even something like Shoryu.
Well, it's 4 mana
Shorikai.
to draw 1 extra card every turn if you skipped your turn. Feels bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's sort of like the idea with blue, though, right? You're not skipping your turn, but you're absolutely right. Like, if you just bland pass, like, you don't want every single round to look like that. It would be better if this said at the end of each upkeep. It would be reasonable if it was at the end of each upkeep if we were trying to put this in the CZ.
Or end of each turn, but yeah, if it's end of each upkeep, yeah, I didn't cast any spells this upkeep.
No,
Or
no, no.
upkeep at the end of each turn. Or upkeep if you didn't cast spells from your hand last turn. Like the one god.
So D.
D.
Okay. Got a pretty expansive D pool here. Low S. Who? This girl? Sadly, for a limited set, every turn is too good. Yeah. No. Yeah. You need to make her like a 1/3 if it was at the end of every turn, and then you would just chill. But having a 3/3 flying vigilant, like excellent blocker, excellent attacker, and then just drawing cards while holding counter spells seems a little too good to be true. But that's a cool direction to go in, and it's reasonable that it's uncommon at that rate.
Speaking of uncommons, Lazav, Familiar Stranger. 1 blue, black for legendary creature shapeshifter, not an outlaw. 1 power, 4 toughness. Whenever you commit a crime, put a +1/+1 counter on Lazav. Then you may exile a card from a graveyard. If it's a creature card exiled this way, you may have Lazav become a copy of that card until the end of the turn. This ability triggers only once each turn. Really good to just potentially build up counters on Lazav to make him punch face, but he's also a carbon copy of the Lazav from the previous set. However, you don't get draw. You don't get to do it as much as you want. You have to actually use another card or another ability to trigger the crime. And since it can trigger only once per turn, if your opponents can do something dumb to force you to commit a crime earlier, they can potentially ruin combos. However, that last part's probably not going to happen almost ever, and this still has a bunch of utility and powerful effects. So I think this is probably a B. It's worse than the previous Lazav, but the previous Lazav was like S tier. So I think it's like a B.
Okay. Yeah. No, I do think the other wasn't the other Lazav like 2 CMC as well?
It was one less mana, and when it attacks, you got a clue, and then you can sacrifice a clue to make him something else. He doesn't get buffed, but
Yeah.
he draws you cards.
I
So
do want to
previous
say
Lazav
though,
is probably better.
biggest butt though of all the Lazavs, I was realizing it broke tradition here with 1/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the fattest butt. You can't see it under that text box, but trust me, when the unset comes out, you're gonna see why he only swaps his face. He's got a killer asset. I think that Lazav Familiar Stranger probably slots in the B. I don't disagree. I think it skirts around, and I do really think about Culling Ritual a lot. I've been burned by it so much that I don't mind that he's 3 CMC. It's not difficult to get him out there. And again, great blocker. Just if we're looking at his baseline.
Great blocker and potentially just a Voltron commander, because if you have Orcish Bowmaster out, this commander's getting +4/+4 every turn, and he's in good colors and has really good effect.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of sick. Commit a crime, put a +1/+1 counter on him. Odds are unlikely that the thing is gonna. Well, I mean, it kind of doubles down with Agatha's Soul Cauldron in a cool way too, because of the +1/+1 counters.
I also want to point out, Lazav commits a crime every time you commit a crime. I completely understand why they made it once per turn.
No, that's a fact. It's so interesting. So technically, when you commit the first crime and after you've resolved this effect, he has 2 +1/+1 counters.
No.
No,
He'll only get
never
one
mind.
counter because it can only trigger once per turn.
Yeah. Fact. Okay. Sorry, I was reading those as 2 separate instances, but yeah, no, this is all one. This is all one giant word soup here. I like Lazav at B. This is not bad.
He might even be A, but
Damn.
I'll
Well, guys,
keep
let us
on
know
B.
if you have any feelings. Again, Mateus was very adamant about us not playing another Lazav, which I stand by. I stand by where we put previous Lazav. But let me know where you guys think that this new Lazav should go. So Lazav, Familiar Stranger. And also, do you think he has a badonkadonk? Let us know in the comments.
Familiar strangers.
Yeah, where should this sucker go? I'll even put S on there. But don't lie to me. I'll be able to route you liars out. Okay, moving on. We have probably the one I want to build the most.
And guess what?
Satoru.
It's another 2-drop.
I know. I've been really wanting to build Dimir. I bought a copy of Yuriko, haven't touched it. But this one might do it for me. So Satoru the Infiltrator, Dimir, 2/3 body. This backwater doesn't have a single wall, ward, or guard that could keep me out. Menace. Whenever Satoru the Infiltrator and or one or more other non-token creatures enter the battlefield under your control, if none of them were cast or no mana was spent to cast them, draw a card.
Broken commander. I will say that playing a 0-cost creature draws you a card. Flickering a creature draws you a card. Casting something without paying any mana draws you a card. Like, you have so many options to have this draw you several cards every turn, to the point where this just feels like a Dimir version of Joyra, Weatherlight Captain. It's definitely weaker because it's not every artifact you play and you aren't drawing off of your fast mana, but you draw a lot off of this, and then you can even run the bad flicker combos and it's probably fine, like a Deadeye Navigator plus name a thing that gives you mana back and then draw through your entire deck. You can also do some stuff with the Tidespout Tyrants and Hullbreak Horrors. You can also do stuff potentially with Cloudstone Curio, but that's a little bit iffy. And there's a couple other options.
You said Displacer Kitten already?
I didn't say Displacer Kitten, but that would be in here more likely than not.
Right. Just any way to flicker him. Someone was suggesting like Norn in this color would be really good. Abzo, yeah. Um, so this is one of those commanders that's only going to grow in value as we see more and more effects that allow for things to ETB and or just let you cast them freely. I think we've talked about this before, but I think Deepwood Legat is the one that Will has brought up. If an opponent controls a forest, you may cast it for free. It's a black creature. There is one, potential opportunity there with Cloudstone Curio, and it doesn't even necessarily need to be infinite. You could just cast that and then repurpose some other. It could just be a creature with ETB effects at this point that you might want to manipulate. I'm trying to think of any that exist in Dimir that we all actively play. Nothing's really coming to mind, but we don't have Dockside, so the amount of on-play effects that we're actually concerned with in Dimir is like maybe minuscule, but maybe like a Spellseeker. I don't know. What I'm getting at, maybe actually especially a Spellseeker, because you do want to get those flicker effects out of your list, so that'll be a good way to do that. I really want to play this list. Oh, sorry.
Even with Cloudstone Curio in mind, you are probably running every single zero-cost artifact creature that you can in this deck, because theoretically what you can do is play all of them, then play the bounce all artifacts, things that you run in Joyra, pick them all up, draw another 5 cards, repeat, reset your mana, keep going. This commander is a hard S for me. Like, this is Dimir Joyra. So you're in the better colors. Red has really good Storm stuff, so that's why.
You think this is Dimir Joyra?
Yeah, and 2 CMC Joyra. This is really good card.
Do you think it's as easy to get off? You just need to cast artifacts in that deck, though. That's not difficult.
With this though, you can cast your commander immediately, draw a card, because it says if a creature was entered and you didn't pay mana, or if a creature entered and what was it, and you didn't cast it, or if this entered, draw a card. So this entering will at least draw you 1 card, and then playing other things will keep drawing you more and more cards. It'll help you work through your deck very quickly, and it has a bunch of different things that you can do to draw your deck infinitely without much issue. Like if you discard a Tidespout Tyrant with any blue discard effect, and then reanimate it, cool, you win. I'd say yes. I'd give it an S. Also, you're just in the dumb combo colors.
Yeah, no. I don't think Cloudstone is needed. Yeah, artifacts don't work with Cloudstone. Yeah, no, I'm not worried about that. Yeah, no, they won't. Thopters,
no. You specifically need Deepwood Legate, and then like anything that is a 0 mana creature, like Cloud of Fairies.
Is Cloud of Fairies a 0 mana creature? What do you mean?
It's 2 mana but untaps 2 lands. The idea is you play it, you don't draw a card. You play Deepwood Legate, you draw a card. Repeat.
Right.
So every time you play Deepwood Legate, you draw.
How many? This is the art I'm familiar with, so look at this one. How many of these exist? There's the Drake, right? Peregrine Drake, and then there's the giant. There's a giant Palancron.
Yeah,
which you're not going to play.
But
I guess you could entomb and reanimate Palancron or something. And you mean Priest of Gix, yeah. So there's a couple of. Satro checks whether mana was spent on himself. I think he would. Yeah, I think he would. Whenever Satro the Infiltrator and or one or more other non-token creatures enter the battlefield under your control, if none of them were cast, or no mana was spent to cast them, draw a card.
Okay, yeah, so it does. So it does check itself.
Yeah.
Okay, I misread that because it sounded like it sectioned himself off from the rest of it.
In Verzon, that is exactly what I was going to say. The one thing I don't think that we covered was Narumea lines. And I think I'm trying to think if there's any other Narumea cards, like not just that legendary, but you can do like the Ghostly Flicker lines, and then one or more things will like ETB and resolve multiple times, and you just draw through your deck, right? And then you can end the line by targeting any other 2 things. If it's Ghostly Flicker, then what lands? I forget all the targets. I want to say that this is an S, and I feel like you want to say it's an S. I feel like the audience wants to say it's an S. Are we all in agreement?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is an S. It's really good.
It's really good, right? I like this art actually quite a bit too. So, God, let's open. Can we open some packs, please? I just want to see if one of us pulls this. I really, really want a copy of it, and I assume that there's got to be an extended board. I'm already thinking about the copy I'd want to play. He's really good. Yeah, I'm excited to see this guy. I'm really, really excited to see this guy. Yeah, Cloud of Fairy, that's sick though. I'd like to be able to play Cloud of Fairies, and you mentioned Priest of Gigs just to showcase. This is stuff that you would play into a Cloudstone Curio if you wanted to play that line. But I do think that I would even go with Palancron. I would go with Palancron, enter the battlefield, untap 7 lands. No, maybe that's a little too much work. I think just going for like the Naru stuff would maybe be the cleanest.
I think the Drake is the Peregrine Drake is probably the highest cost thing that you'd go for.
Right. I mean, do you do a fast nos thing here? You're just trying to build your hand up as quickly as possible?
You can probably do fast nos with this, even though you're running high CMC things. You can probably play into nos. What was I gonna say? The Deadeye Navigator line is probably one of the better ones because if you are running the free creatures, Cloud Fairies, all that, then you can just draw infinite cards pretty easily.
Right. As long as Deadeye Navigator is paired with another creature, each of those creatures has exile itself, right?
Yeah.
This is expensive, but again, mind you, we're in Dimir, so you could just play your Cloud of Fairies and then with the mana you untap, if it produces black, and Tomb Reanimate this sucker, right? You obviously need a little bit more mana to make this work, but it's not a difficult ask, I would say. Damn. Yeah. Shit. Is there a cool Deadeye Navigator art? Okay, sorry.
I don't know. There might be a secret layer.
It's cool. I'm already thinking about this. He makes you play so many bad cards, says Victoria. Yeah, I like bad cards, but I don't disagree. I don't think Naru's a bad card, just by and by. I do think the land untappers are maybe a little shmimmy. Shmimmy.
You're definitely running all the clone creatures because if somebody has a dockside, you just have good time.
Right, that's not a bad move. You can also just Praetor's Grasp at dockside too, right? So if you wanted it, then take it. And if someone has a dockside, yep, exactly, like you were saying. This is a Yuriko card.
Is this a Yuriko card?
Would you rather play this or Yuriko? How about
Yeah,
ninjutsu. Does ninjutsu replace is it not a cast? I forget exactly how ninjutsu's worded, but it's not a cast.
Is if a creature you control goes
unblocked
through and doesn't block or isn't blocked, then you can pay blank and then put this into the battlefield and bounce that to your hand.
Right, but it's not you may cast this and replace the thing, right?
Nope. You're just
so I mean, do we run ninjutsu in the deck? Are there any fun ninjutsu shit we would want to use? I'm sorry, we're not brewing this right now. I'm sorry. Let's move on. Yeah. I really do just want to build this deck, though. I've been thinking about it since I saw this guy, and there's so many thoughts on him. There's so many ways you could play him to produce a win.
Reanimator Storm is a whole thing as well. Joshua mentioned that because if you do a bunch of low CMC creatures, you can do all of the reanimate everything in your graveyard effects, and then just go 5 mana, draw 20.
Hold up. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like What do you mean Reanimator Storm? Just playing
like a living death and stuff like
lines
that
and stuff? Ooh. Do you mean hold up. Can we do like fun corpse dance lines?
Yeah, you can do corpse dance stuff.
Because that's the other fun thing you could shit. I'm just gonna keep looking at Satoru. Okay. Until you guys get bored of talking about this legendary because he's just cool as shit. I have a corpse dance sitting around for years that I'm like, I'm probably gonna do some combo with it. This is that instance, right? This is dragging that body back into play without casting it.
Yeah. Well, next deck tech probably Satoru.
Yeah. Persist deck. Even persist.
Yeah, persist undead or undying? Yeah, persist and
I was
undying.
just when I read this and it didn't say you may do this once per turn. I was like, holy crap!
Yeah,
They
there's
they
gonna
gave us
be
something
like
that's possibly
three.
good.
There's three different viable versions of this deck that people are gonna build, and all of them are gross and disgusting.
Yeah, let me see this living death. I mean, I'm talking about corpse dance. What is the best line for corpse dance though? It's generally, I guess, like a sack outlet and a dockside or something, right?
You can do like Peregrine Drake and a sack outlet as well, and then it's just keep on tapping 5 lands, go 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 with the sack outlet.
Mm, right. I think I get the sack outlet could be anything. Obviously, Satro doesn't lend to this at all.
Well,
Hmm.
you draw cards every time. That's the
I mean,
out
yeah,
to it.
that's not bad, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Satro is S tier. I think we can all move on, guys. This next Friday, I would really love to do Satro, so hang tight for that. I think that it's gonna be a good deck. Really, really good deck. Thank God it's saved our tier. Let's move on though.
All right.
Okay.
A cool, the unrepentant. Black, black, red, red, legendary
Okay.
creature, scorpion, dragon, rogue. It's an outlaw. 5
Yeah.
power, 5 toughness, flying trample. Sacrifice 3 other creatures. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, activate as a sorcery, and once per turn. Um, this card is really, really, really disgusting and casual because you just go, okay, I sacrifice 3 small creatures, Eldrazi Titan. You're going to get annihilated. In cEDH, it's probably cheat in Eraziketh, but my issue is that you have other ways of cheating in Eraziketh that are probably better. So this is C, in my opinion.
Hmm. Lastly, do you here? I'll. That's an interesting question. Uh, I don't even know how to pose that as a poll, but do you think that Satro could win a tournament? Will?
I think Satoru could probably win a tournament, but to kind of describe the tiers a little bit uh, in more detail or a little bit more detailed, S tier is something that is probably going to be a deck that you consistently see. Like, think Yuriko. Yuriko is not
Or
considered a
Kinnan?
top deck right now, but you see Yuriko all the time. It's not uncommon to see a Yuriko deck. A is a deck that's competitively viable. These are the decks that you'll see here and there, but they're a little bit more rare. B is like probably more the cEDH pet decks. They work, but not everybody plays them. And then C is casual, D is don't play. That's kind of my perspective on all of it. S is you will see this pretty consistently. Like you at least have one friend in the play group who plays it more likely than not. That's kind of what S tier is to me. You see it like not all the time, but a lot.
I put a cool in D.
I'd put him in C. He is really gross and casual, but he's not good and competitive.
Sacrifice 3 other creatures to return a card from your hand. Okay.
It's like turn 4, just getting out an Eldrazi Titan is good enough and
You're
casual.
just saying that because he's a scorpion dragon outlaw.
I'm saying it because it's a rogue.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Outlaw. All right, moving on. Will, I'll let you go over this one too, because I know you're a fan.
Yes! Laughing Jasper Flint. 1 black, red for legendary creature Lizard Rogue. He's an outlaw. 4 power, 3 toughness. Creatures you control but don't own are mercenaries in addition to their other types. They're outlaws. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top X cards of target opponent's library. That's a crime. Where X is the number of outlaws you control. Until the end of the turn, you may cast spells from among those cards, and mana of any type can be spent to cast those cards. Okay. Jasper is the best slow Rakdos commander that has ever been printed. I'm not saying he's the best Rakdos. There are better Rakdos commanders. But we haven't gotten a good slow Rakdos commander, and Jasper easily takes that spot because he's a rogue. He's at minimum draw 1 extra card a turn, and you're burning through your opponent's libraries by doing that. The best cards in the game right now for Rakdos are rogues and pirates. Ragavan, Dockside, Thorcold, Dothy Voidwalker. In addition to the fact that if you hit any of your opponent's creatures off of Flint, then you play them and they're mercenaries, so they're outlaws, making it so Flint steals even more cards, getting you more creatures, stealing more cards, getting you more creatures, stealing more cards. Flint is brutal because if there's a stacks deck on the field, he's accelerating the stacks deck's game plan, and then he's shredding all the combo decks so that no one can combo off, while also just keeping your hand filled, because you can probably get X to be at least 3 pretty quickly. So he's Arachdos Timna that can get out of control really fast. I'm not going to put him in S tier, but I'd put him in like A or B, because he's honestly really good. I'd put him in A, but
Justin says that Bristly Bill deserves to be more than D. He just commented.
Yeah. My issue with
Justin.
Bristly Bill is only due to the fact that there's way better landfall commanders out there, and there's way better Voltron commanders out there. Theoretically, you could make a cEDH deck with Bristly Bill where you just do Bristly Bill turn 1, turn 2, fetch land, get 2 counters on Bristly Bill. Same thing next turn for 4 counters, and then make it up to 8. Next turn, go 16, 32, hit and kill somebody. So theoretically, you could knock somebody out on turn 3, 4 with Bristly Bill, but it's a lot of work. I'm not a big fan. He goes in the 99 of casual decks, though, and some competitive decks. In the 99, Bristly Bill rocks.
Bristly Bill is good in Kodama, but is more of a casual deck. Yeah. A bit behind, but Satoru is great zombie commander. Rooftop Storm goes nuts. Yeah, Struggling Chef. There are like a myriad of ways we can build that list, and we'll definitely talk about. We just need to brainstorm, Will, on like all of the best lines, and I mean the most mana efficient, tutorable, easily playable, least amount of counter interaction. Like we'll find out. We'll find the best play lines for it.
The issue with Satoru is he does too much. There's going to be like 3 different viable Satoru decks.
Yeah, but I would love to come up with the most viable, frankly. I would say that I'm happy to put Jasper in B, personally. Okay. I do think, though, that he is playable. Someone was suggesting, why not play Prosper instead? They're not too dissimilar. It's interesting. Prosper, so you guys know. Prosper is a 4 CMC commander, if I'm not mistaken. There it is. 2 generic and Rakdos Death Touch at the beginning of your end step. Exile the top card of your library until the end of turn. You may blah. Whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. So it's ramp, and you're also obviously getting to get some value. The only difference being in the instance of Flint, you are getting a 4/3 pretty early, which is kind of great. So you're beating people with that. That's less relevant, but it's relevant against decks that have black. But also, as Will was saying, that you're going to have a lot of outlaws. Like, because of his ability, potentially if you use hijack effects, but also because they just consequently are outlaws, most of the good cards that Will mentioned. So I think you could technically see more cards off of Flint than you would off of Prosper, and potentially sooner. So I think there's space for both of them, but I don't know that it would slot into A range, because I would say my Oswald's like an A range. I don't know if Flint could keep up with
is S. Your Oswald is S. It plays so fast and so consistently. I'm surprised more people aren't playing Oswald.
I appreciate that. But it hasn't won a tournament yet. That's an interesting bar to cross Victoria. I'm interested that you said that, because I don't necessarily think of lists in that way. I don't think it needs to have won a tournament necessarily to be hyper competitive. I think Satoru is just hyper competitive.
Yeah, I will say though, the main difference between Prosper and Jasper Flint is Jasper Flint exiles from an opponent's deck, Prosper exiles from your deck. I also want to point out Prosper is probably going in a Jasper Flint deck because Prosper is an outlaw and cares about you playing cards from exile.
That's funny too. And Abs is like, I love exiling people's win cons. Yeah, fact. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you line up a play for yourself where you give this sucker haste and they top deck tutor. It's like, cool. I think I'm going for you first.
No, he's not tap. He's at the beginning of upkeep.
Oh, I'm sorry. It doesn't even fucking matter.
Yeah, but
So you're kind of you know what, they're kind of screwed regardless. Then that sucks. You're just like, hold up. So top deck tutors are kind of neutered then.
Yeah, the slow top deck tutors are kind of pointless.
Right.
But I just love the fact that he's Rakdos Mill and is a viable slow Rakdos commander. I like
him. I like it to be. I want to see your build for him. I know you were going to build something casual, but yeah,
I might try it competitive. You don't know.
Do it. Seriously, I would love to see it. I'd love to play against it.
And
art for this one's
speaking
really
of
cool, too.
decks that play like Prosper, this next commander fits much closer to Prosper.
So many Rakdosians from this set.
This one's actual Rakdos, though.
And this one's actual Rakdos, yes. Roaming Throne with Jasper, for sure.
Yeah.
Which, are you using that, Will? You have a Roaming Throne.
Probably.
Yeah. Go on, please.
All right. Well, Rakdos the Muscle, 2 black and a red for a legendary creature demon mercenary. He's an outlaw. 6 power, 5 toughness, flying and trample. Whenever you sacrifice another creature, exile cards from the top of your library. Exile cards equal to its mana value from the top of target player's library, meaning that you can do yours or your opponent's. This is the one that can disrupt your opponent's game plans really well. Until your next turn, you may play those cards with mana of any type for those spells. And then you can sacrifice another creature, and then Rakdos becomes indestructible and becomes tapped, activate once each turn. This is the slower version of Jasper Flint, or the higher CMC version, but with a more explosive potential. So there's infinite loops that you can do with Rakdos. You can mess with people's top decks a lot better. This may be better Jasper, but you don't need to hit consistent cards to keep fueling Jasper. You do for Rakdos. However, you can just cheat in a big thing like Metalwork Colossus is just a generically good thing, and then go through your deck, keep going, find a sacrifice loop, and then mill everybody out. So Rakdos is a draw engine. It's self-protected because it's indestructible on your turn. And it is an outlet for a win. 5 mana hurts, but there is potential for Rakdos.
I like Jasper more than him.
Yeah, Jasper's cooler. He's slower, but he can combo.
I know
Rakdos, Phyrexian Altar, and Forsaken Miner. There you go.
Exile everyone's library. I'll look up Forsaken Miner. I feel like we all know the other ones. But
Forsaken Miner's the new card. And
he is indeed.
Gross.
This guy's stupid. This card's so good. Sorry, we haven't done a set review, but again, if you weren't on the Discord, you can join the Discord in the description here, but we were talking about all the spoilers leading up to today, and this card popped up, and I'm like, what a absurd uncommon. This is just so good. And again, not necessarily, it's a standard set, but like, I would use this in loops and play lines that require a recurable body. This is an amazing one, though. A 1 for a 2/2 that comes back. If you do return for... so good. Anyway.
So for Rogue, bringing up Phyrexian Dreadnought, the reason why you don't care about Dreadnought in the Rakdos deck is because it exiles 1 card. It doesn't care about power, it cares about CMC.
Mm-hmm. Right. Thank you.
Rakdos is really explosive and really cool. Jasper's cooler. Also, I want to point out, I'm 100% going to make that deck and call it Flint and Steel. Jasper Flint, stealing cards. Flint and Steel, let's go.
I want to say that this is maybe the best Rakdos we've ever seen, and I do think it's cEDH playable, for sure.
Yeah.
I like that they finally made, I think, a decent Rakdos. It was about time.
It's really funny. I think we could totally bump up all the B tier things currently in the B tier to A tier, and I would not complain about that.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm just trying to save because we have so many legendaries to go through. We can maneuver some things around near the end of this, guys, so that it feels like everything's in its right place. But I did want to give us some room for error when it comes to the placement of these legendaries moving forward. But I think we're being more than modest. I think we're being accurate with our assessments. And again, guys, if there's anything that we're touching on, you think we're off base, let us know. If you think something deserves to be higher or lower on the list, happy to field any of those comments. But moving on, File Smasher. Is this like the first of our like new non-partner legendaries? I think so. The only time I think we've seen Vial Smasher is as a partner, but he's still in Rakdos. Gleeful Grenadier. Rakdos, 3/2 body, Goblin Mercenary. At uncommon, what's the boy do? Whenever another outlaw enters the battlefield, remember, shit ton of those. Vial Smasher, Gleeful Grenadier deals 1 damage to target opponent. And that's also committing a crime, right? So, if you got anything that plays in tandem with that, think about it. It's going to be good.
Wait, really quick.
I mean, that's probably a combo right there with Cloudstone Curio and Dockside.
I want to point out, Forsaken Miner is a rogue, so theoretically, if you have Phyrexian Altar, you can just go boom, 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 boom.
It's not random though, right? It wasn't Vial Smasher random?
OG Vial Smasher was random. This Vial Smasher wants to Grenadier very specific things.
I love the flavor text here too, by the way. It wasn't quite home, but the fire still burned bright and the bomb still went boom. Yo.
I like how he's like, wow, I can travel the multiverse. First thing I'm gonna do, arson.
I know. Yeah, he doesn't let up. He knows, he likes what he likes. Vial Smasher. Vial Smasher is his name Vial Smasher, or is that just like what he does?
To be fair, has anyone survived around him long enough to ask?
I don't know. But I really like this card. I honestly feel like, as an outlet commander, this is a cool one. Like I was saying, it wouldn't be impossible to do Cloudstone lines. There are obviously the best tutors in black, and then there's plenty of ways to recur artifacts from the grave. Like, so you could entomb something and use a goblin, what am I trying to say? Not metal worker, goblin welder, to pull it back. And then obviously we're always aiming for our Dockside, so there's plenty of ways to like actively use this to kill opponents. But I don't know if like this is going to be a casually played list, and I think there are probably better things to do in Rakdos, so I can't really rate this highly, but it's not like it's bad.
I will say that there are a lot of 3-card combos with him, and since he's 2 mana, you can get him out pretty early. I think it's very reasonable to say that Vial Smasher wins on turn 2. Not consistently, but not uncommonly.
So you're in the color of all the rituals. There are plenty of lines. You just need a line that gets you an outlaw to enter the battlefield repeatedly. Or are there, we were talking about, not extort, persist lines, or any of those persisters, assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, or warlocks? Are there? Because like that's a thing too. Like, I don't know. I need to look into it. Can we? I really like this Vial Smasher. Can we just put him in B? I don't think he's bad. I do think you can win games with him.
I don't think it's B and move the stuff in B up to A, because honestly, I feel like they probably deserve it. Maybe not a Lazav, but the other two I'd like in A if we could.
Oh, I liked you. I thought you wanted Lazav up here before.
We can keep Lazav down if we want to keep Lazav down. I'd like all 3 of the others to go up, but if we want to keep Lazav down, I'm fine with that.
Between Rakdos and Lazav, I like Lazav more as a playable commander.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. I'm fine with however you want to move it. I just don't want to have Vial Smasher in the same tier as like the majority of those guys currently in B.
Forsaken Minor Loop with the Phyrexian Altar does it, yeah.
Yeah.
Murderous Red Cap. Well, I mean, Yeah, I love Murderous Red Cap, but I mean, like, it's already doing the thing, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, screw it. Let's do it. Let's do it together. Okay, I'm gonna leave Rakdos down there. I'm sorry. I think that Rakdos has just as much a fighting chance as Vile Smasher. They're both like, one is very lithe and like efficient at doing it, and you know, if your Adnos pile, it's not gonna require much of you to get the ball rolling on Vile Smasher, and Rakdos is kind of costly. So I feel like it's just by nature of his mana value, it's gonna be a little bit longer to get there. These two 3CMCers I think are just good effects attached to cheap bodies. With good
Can I point
values.
out that you fanboyed over half of the two CMC commanders that we've gotten?
Yeah,
We've gotten four, and you really like two of them.
I'm not wrong about this. Viles match was sick. I
He
didn't
is.
like the.
There are
I didn't.
plenty of
Yeah.
combo lines.
Are we blinking in Satoru?
Yes.
Of course we are.
Always.
Of course we are. Don't bring up
Getting
Satoru
ignored.
anymore. I will stop this stream just to do the deck tech for him. Like, if anyone expresses enough interest, but I'm trying to refrain because there's so many freaking legendaries we need to get through. I fanboyed over him a lot. I've given him a little bit of thought, but just talking with you guys about it, I just want to build the deck so bad now. But Vile Smasher's cool as shit. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. I'm going to quickly go over this one because it's not too notable. We got Jolene. It's a Gruul commander that says if you attack with enough combined power, you make a treasure. You can pay 2 mana, sacrifice a treasure, and deal 1 damage to any target. It does what Urchin Aranus does, but worse. D.
Yeah, D for Dogwater. Sorry. She seems like a lovely person.
Is there even a D on this card? Hold up. A Plunderer. Okay, there's D in Plunderer.
D for Plunder.
Yeah, and damage. Emotional damage.
Yeah, emotional damage. Moving on, not to Omnath, but to Roxanne. That was not the same. Can you hit it for me, Will?
Do you want me to do the lower one? Or...
Roxanne!
Oh,
that one.
I thought you were going to have me do the Roxanne.
What is that from? Wait.
That's the Roxanne. You don't need to turn off that red light.
Yeah, but what is this accent? Who is this? Who is singing this?
I don't know. Hold up. Let me see if I can find this.
Which version do you listen to? Is this from like a musical?
You can cover Roxanne
like
while I try to find the song.
Sure. Well, I mean, don't play it on the stream. I mean,
no, I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna say what it is.
All right, guys. So here's another one that's potentially Rakdos kind of grinds potential out of Jasper, but this big body hard to kill instead of stealing opponent's lines. It could go either way, guys. Let me know if you think Rakdos deserves to be an A. Actually, you know what? There's a good way to do that. We're gonna cover in just a second Roxanne, but Rakdos. Is he A or is he B? I'm not even going to suggest S for Rakdos. Roxanne Starfall Savant for 5 CMC, that's 3 generic, and Gruul, 4/3 body, Cat Druid. Get ready for the cute waifu version in the Secret Lair. Whenever Roxanne Starfall Savant enters the battlefield or attacks, create a tapped colorless artifact token named Meteorite. When Meteorite enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target and add 1 mana of any color. Remember, it comes into play tapped. It will do the 2 damage to any target, though. That's great. That's super, super good. 2 does clear off a lot of shit from the board, like sorry Esper Sentinel, sorry Ogre Spellmaster, and the list goes on. Whenever you tap, or sorry your own Dockside, I guess, but I don't know why you would want to do that unless you want to Noxious Revival it or something. Whenever you tap an artifact token, and this is why you might want to do that, whenever you tap an artifact token for mana, add 1 mana of any type that artifact token could produce. This includes Meteorite. This includes Treasure. So it's 5 CMC, but you're in the right colors for this. Green has plenty of ramp, red has plenty of rituals, and you can get there very quickly. The idea being probably food chain. But the thing is, it's giving you so much. It's almost, I don't know, I want to put it on the same level as Kinnan, but you get where I'm coming from. Like, it's making gobs of mana, but it is also an outlet in and of itself, and it plays really neatly into a food chain line, right? And there's plenty of ways you can do this too. You don't even need to do Food Chain necessarily. You could just do Dockside Extortionist, Tamir Sabertooth, and this, provided you're making enough mana, which you will with her on the battlefield. So, I don't know. Do you like this, Will? I feel like Starfall Savant is pretty good for Gruul. It's probably one of the better Gruul commanders we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's one of the better Gruul commanders because the two combo lines are 1, Food Chain, or 2, Temur Sabertooth Dockside.
Right.
And fun fact, those treasures tap for 2 because of Roxanne.
I know.
So good.
It's so well. So yeah. So think about it though. So you need to she'll be on the battlefield. You'll break the treasures. You probably want to just break all the treasures while she's there and float it, right? Because you do need to.
You just make infinite treasures first with Dockside, and then you go, okay, Temur Sabertooth Roxanne with infinite treasures, do the thing.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
that means that instead of needing 5 treasures for infinite mana, you only need 3.
I was thinking of like Cloudstone in my head where they alternate, but Temur is you just put 1 to hand and it gets indestructible or something.
I mean, you could do Cloudstone as well because that's crack 1 for Dockside, and then
I remember when this came out, I was joking. I need to find it. I always talk about my masterpiece Cloudstone Curio. I think it's the most beautiful. I think it's one of the most beautiful cards in Magic, and I've been wanting a deck to frickin' play it in for so long that this was kind of appealing to me. I'm always looking. That's why Satro was like, "Can I use Cloudstone there?" I don't think it's worth it, but maybe one day.
But our local pub stomp also found it as I was finding it. So the Roxanne that I was singing was El Tango de Roxanne from Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Moulin Rouge is. I think it's categorized as a jukebox musical, although there are some medleys, but I still suppose it puts it in that category. It's just songs that exist that are put into a musical to help tell a story. But yeah, I think the Police wrote Roxanne, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but it's a different Roxanne than the Police, I believe.
Cloudstone might be better because it's kind of easier. It's easier to find. It's easier to find
creature tutors.
Yeah. Well, Kinnan is a 2020 Simic card, so that's why he's so much better.
Yeah. They stopped making green good in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Better Gruul commander in a long time. Ansrag Quakemole slander right there.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I did have a lot of fun making Ansrag. I think that this is maybe a little bit better than Ansrag, though.
I love Ansrag because he does really, really cool things and he can be really efficient, but you need a bunch of pieces that you can't easily tutor to get him to work well, whereas Roxanne actually works well with her colors. Ansrag is really good, though. I think the top 3 Gruul commanders right now are Urchin Aranus, Roxanne, and Ansrag, not in any particular order.
Yeah, that's my other thing with Roxanne. Like, you know how in Savala's Storm, you're making infinite mana. It's a means to an end. In green, you are really focused on that gob of mana to do lines of play that aren't traditionally possible, right? So like looping Eternal Witness to get Finale of Devastation plays and kind of silly things. But we're in 2 colors here where you could very feasibly, just by having Roxanne out there, cast a Tooth and Nail. Like, you don't need infinite mana to do it. Just cast a Tooth and Nail for A plus B combo very easily in this list because you will effectively have a shit ton of mana. And again, your A and B combo could just be Dockside with Tamir Sabertooth. Or in this instance, I guess, like some protection if you had Dockside out already. But just by the nature of her existence and long term too, because remember, it's not just when she enters the battlefield, it's when she attacks. So as soon as you get her out and you start attacking with her, just attacking, you start pegging things and producing more mana. I really, really like Roxanne. I want to say she's an A.
I'd put her in A. Once you get Roxanne, you start ramping out of control, and then you just need to hit something that wins the game off of Roxanne.
Maria cries. I mean, easier to find than Food Chain, not Sabertooth. Cloudstone might be... I see what you mean. Bruh, you skipping Atali in that list. Where's Atali? Which Atali? Oh, you mean Gruul, the Gruul Atali?
I don't like Atali.
Is this Atali really pulling weight right now?
People do like that Atali a lot. I still don't like that Atali much.
Mm. I like Roxanne more than this Atali. Sorry. But there's plenty. There's also shit. I mean, the only thing that this is missing, right? If you're concerned about it, is card advantage. Like you're not drawing cards because of Roxanne, but you're doing other important things, right? You're getting damage, so you have an outlet, and you're getting mana. So not bad at all. I like her a lot. Don't think she's S though. Atali is very good. I would like to see this list. He has been in multiple top 16s, but yeah, I do like Roxanne. Sad Atali noises. Yeah, I that's interesting. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that this is making the rounds for Gruul. Like Gruul does need it. People are really knocking folks out with poison counters. I'm assuming that's what's happening.
It's not poison counters. People do Dockside Sabertooth to make infinite mana, then Atali to deck everybody. That's usually how
Oh,
it
just
wins.
the ETB?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or food
That's kind
chain.
of cool. Or food chain, that works too. Yeah. So I feel like there's plenty of games where you just don't play Atali until it's time, or you just don't play Atali. So like, how good is something like Deflecting Swat in that list? Do you even bother running it?
I don't like Atali. I think Roxanne is better Atali.
That exactly, because I feel like you're kind of neutering some cool options. No, maybe not necessarily in Gruul so far as like free when you have your commander stuff, but D-SWAT is one of those cards that's just it's really good. So I would like to be able to use it. Minkskin Boo is pretty good too. Grinders seem to think so. Seem to think that Atali is good. Okay. I think Roxanne's maybe a little bit better than
Yeah. It's
Atali.
lower CMC and it has a little bit more, I don't want to say like active potential. I don't know what term I was going to try to throw out there.
I think it just has more of an effect on the game. Like when you put this down, like it's going to hit something that's valuable on the field and potentially kill it, and then effectively ramp from there on and help you ease you into the latter half of the game. I don't know how quick it's going to perform though.
Yeah.
Like unless you just have the God Hand, right, where you just have some sort of crazy food chain squeeze set up and you go for it. But I mean, I guess that's true for Atali as well. But I think that I would rather have Roxanne and the CZ doing that than I would Atali.
Yeah, they have the exact same play lines for the WinCon. I think you could play your Atali deck and just swap out Atali for Roxanne, and the deck plays a lot better.
Try that and then report back to us. Will, I need you to take a really long time discussing Miriam for the audience because it's RuPaul very soon. I promised my wife I would pause RuPaul for her, so all right, Will. Really take your time, okay?
I'm gonna cover like the next 4 and skipping Selvala because the next 4 are pretty easy to cover.
Well, cover one here. Cover Selvala then, if you
okay.
Cover one that's gonna take a while. Here, because you like Selvala. Yeah. I'll let you guys know where I feel she lands, but let me know where you guys feel Selvala lands.
All right, well, Selvala Eager Trailblazer is 2 green or 2 green white for a 4/5 Vigilance Elf Scout legendary creature that says whenever you cast a creature spell, you make a 1/1 red mercenary creature token with tap target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn activated as a sorcery, and tap, choose a color. Add 1 mana of that color for each different power among creatures you control. Interesting version of the mono green Selvala that everybody plays or everybody played. It's harder to get the higher mana values, but you can still hit 4 pretty easily and 5 with a little bit more difficulty. To sum it up in the most straightforward way, if you have 2/2 CMC creature or 2/2 power creatures, a mercenary token, and Selvala on board, the mercenary makes one of the 2 powers into 3, so then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So Selvala makes 4 mana. If you have 0 power creature or a creature that makes itself big, then you have 5 mana off of the Selvala tap. And then name one of the Selvala infinite lines. This gets there a decent amount of the time. And also, as Cameron brought up, 4 mana for a 4/5 vigilance stat line. That's
Can't
really
believe
good.
can't believe Morphine got the boot. I feel like her lip sync was so much better. At any rate, sorry,
Well,
we're back.
I was just ending up saying getting to 4 mana isn't too hard with Selvala. Getting to 5 mana also isn't too much of a problem because you either get a self-buffing creature or a 0 power creature, and then you get to 5 mana off of that Selvala. And you just need 4 mana for some of the combos and 5 for Staff of Dominance, I believe. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
So the thing with the mono green Savala is that she's like an outlet. You get to draw, right? You can draw your deck with her ultimately. And then some lines of play, which most of the good ones are going to rely on her for that. And then there's the other Selesnya Savala that lets everyone draw. I guess you can kind of consider it group hug, but the idea there is to make people deck themselves. And judging by how little often I see that deck, I'm going to say that that strategy is probably not tenable. So this Savala is making an infinite mana enough. Again, we always go back to the same discussion when it comes to Selesnya. It doesn't have good finishers, and I hate that, like Heliod
Does
Ballista.
now. The funny thing is, I'd say that this Selvala is probably B tier because there are significantly better Selesnya commanders now. Because in Selesnya, you just want to find Hermit Druid, get to 6 mana, and win the game.
What's the finisher here? Bodies? No. Target
For
creature?
Selvala, you try to get infinite mana, and if you depending on the infinite mana system that you're using, you either give your creatures infinite power or you draw your deck. Staff of Dom, draw your deck. Every other one infinite power because the mercenaries let you buff everything infinitely.
Well, activate a sorcery speed. Yeah. I mean, is there like a village bell ringer line?
Uh, there's probably something with Village Bellringer, but I was thinking like a Umbral Mantle, something like that.
I would put her in B.
Yeah,
I would put her in B. It's possible. It's not impossible.
I think she's a
I
little
like
bit better than the mono green Selvala that people are using right now, just because the additional color boosts the consistency a lot, but it does play a lot slower.
yeah. Yeah, I mean the thing that the predictability of that mono green Savala was its downfall. Really, like it's explosive, but it runs like clockwork. If you know how the gears are turning, it's very easy to stick a wrench in it. The Savala, with the inclusion of white, I think is probably more mid-range just based off its cost. I don't think you want to. You could obviously land Jeweled Lotus this out, and that's fine, but you do need things to be on the board for her to hit those higher, like, mana values. So I'm fine with putting it in B and then talking about Miriam,
Yep, I agree.
because this is the
Uh,
one that was really going to take a while.
yeah, Mirian, 2 mana for a 3/2 that makes it so your vehicles and mounts have hexproof, and they get bigger when they attack. D.
Yeah. I think Will covered everything pretty easily there. All the Selesnya ones that have come out are kind of, it's funny because all of the Rakdos ones are like really solidly playable, and then these Selesnya ones are, you want to talk about Wily?
Yeah, Wily is a 3 mana commander with vigilance that says whenever it becomes tapped, gain a life and draw a card. It has vigilance. It doesn't have a tap ability. It is anti-synergy on the card. D.
Imagine if it did have a tap effect, like it could have been anything, like tap him, give another creature vigilance. It would have been really cool because all you need to do is like infinite mana, umbral mantle, sword of prune, staff of domination. Like you do that kind of shenanigan to tap him. As it stands, you need like what's the cloak called? The plume something mantle. Spring mantle, plumy mantle, rainbow plume. The one that lets you tap for mana.
A Springleaf Drum?
No,
Or sorry, no,
Springleaf
you're
Drum.
talking about
The
Uh,
equipment that I use in my Shurikai list. Jeez, there's
yeah,
really good art for it too. Mantle. I want to show you guys the art. I just think the art is so cute.
Paradise Mantle.
Paradise Mantle. I got the secret lair. My god, it's so damn cute. Yeah, but I use this in Shurikai. But this, like, just anything to make this legendary useful. It's not bad. This can be an outlet. You just need to find a way to tap and untap this thing infinitely, and you would draw your deck.
Yeah.
You don't like it though? Paradise Mantle, thank you.
No. There's a million better ways to do it. This is just a vanilla 4/3 or 4/2 vigilance for 3.
It is. It's so you're absolutely right. Why did they tack vigilance onto this? They're like, oh, Selesnya?
Saddle.
Oh no.
Because saddle.
My God, because he's riding a horse. Because he's right. Wait, is this just any horse, or is this Shadowfax because it's in the game now? Yeah, that's lame. That's so freaking lame. Vehicles, yeah, vehicles, intruder alarm. Oh wait, yeah. There's nothing here. Let us know your favorite Wily combos. And by the way, I think we're ending the poll here. It's 50-50 on Rakdos to be A or B. So we're just gonna leave Rakdos where he is for now, but we might change it later. I mean, you just draw not all players like the other Savala. Derevi Outlet. Derevi Outlet with Wily?
Oh yeah, because Derevi ETB taps or untaps something.
God, that's so
I'm
pathetic.
gonna Derevi with my 12 triggers with Derevi. I'm gonna have all of them target Wily to tap and untap to draw 6.
Alright, moving on. Sorry, Wily. Baron Bertram Greywater for 2 generic and an Orzhov. There's another one of those lanterns, like the vampire boy from earlier. It's the same lantern. Did Bertram create this lantern? Of course the law's on my side. I wrote it. He's 3/4, vampire noble. Oh wow, these vampires like hanging around these lanterns. I'm sorry, we gotta look. Did Johan Grenier do the same art? I just need to know. No, but these two clearly talked with one another. Okay, we're gonna talk about the card now.
They have the same lantern dealer.
The same vampires like this lantern. I just think it's interesting that they're both vampires and feature this particular lantern that is not a card in the game right now, but WotC, make it one. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 vampire rogue creature token with lifelink. This ability triggers only once each turn. Wah, wah. Then you may pay a generic and a black, sacrifice another creature or artifact, draw a card. Well, there you go.
Theoretically, an infinite draw outlet if you can do infinite reanimate stuff.
Yeah.
But it's lacking the colors that let you do stuff like Dockside, like the Dockside Corpse Dance combo. So, D?
Selesnya and Orzhov, they always just like, they get so close and they always dial it back. They really do. For years, I've been looking for that, sacrifice Mandarin Orzhov that, it's an outlet and it does all the things you wanted to do, but they hampered it with the once each turn and not Saturu. Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Dimir just consistently gets, like, good shit. And I'm not even thinking, like, oh, Dimir is inherently good because of Demonic Consultation, Thassa's Oracle. The legendaries that come out for Dimir are historically good. And then you look at Orzhov or you look at Selesnya and they always get hampered. Always. Yeah. I would say that Baron Bertram is a D for draw. Yeah.
Well, we have the return of one of your favorite boys, Patrick. We got Kumbal.
Yeah. I do. There. And I do like Kumbal, by the way. Will's not joking. This Kumbal looks so much more badass than the old ones, by the way. The old one, I should say. I'll look up the old one.
The effect is potentially a little bit more badass, but let's go over it. 1, a white and a black for a legendary creature, human advisor with 2 power, 4 toughness, kept the stat line and the cost, gotta like that. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under an opponent's control, for each of them you create a tap token that's a copy of it. This ability triggers only once per turn. Okay, so somebody makes a treasure token, you make a treasure token, somebody docksides, you get the same number of dockside tokens. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Oh, so you're burning people for playing dockside.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say people are more consistently casting spells than they are making tokens, so old Cabal is a little bit more consistent.
Yeah.
But considering everybody that can play dockside does play dockside, and you have things like Tivit that exist, this Cabal is not bad.
Yeah, for each of them, create a tapped token that's a copy of it. The fact that it only triggers once each turn is kind of meh. But it's like once each turn and tapped, so it neuters it on 2 fronts. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, each opponent. But you're right, like one fat dockside, you know, because if this wasn't limited, then if there was someone was trying to do a loop, it's anti-dockside loop essentially, right? But
and if somebody's doing a Tivit stuff, you are getting all the clues and all the treasures that the Tivit player's getting. If someone's doing any other token thing, you do get tokens along with them. But if somebody's doing an infinite loop, then you don't do infinite with them.
right.
But people usually are only making 1 batch of tokens per turn anyways, so the once per turn doesn't really hamper it much.
So yeah, so Cabal, the previous deck that I used to play was obviously anti-storm just by virtue of the effect, and then the life gain was relevant for fat ad nauseum. So I'd throw this guy down, play a slower game, then I would run out an ad nause. I'd even Praetor's Grasp for ad nauses and just like run it out at my leisure. It was again a slower stacks list. I really like this legendary. This new one, I'm also a fan of. I don't disagree with Will. I kind of wish it hampered in the same way that the previous one did, but I don't know. Where do you think he falls? Like, do you think he's playable as a stack expander, like in the B range?
He's very close to B. I think he's probably C, but he's very close to being a B commander.
Rule of law to force them into giving you dockside triggers. You can pick and choose when you make the tokens. More tokens into the battlefield under your opponent's control. For each of them, create a tap token.
No, you don't get to pick and choose.
I think he's C. Would people enjoy seeing this in casual?
Well, he's a really good burn commander, because if you're doing like a token deck and you do what is it called, like Copper something, or Call the Copper? I can find this really quick.
Copper?
Yeah, Call of the Copper Coats, which is just a white spell that makes tokens for every creature your opponents control. You trigger that blast effect and you burn the crap out of people. That's like deal 20 damage. So if you're making tokens, he does a lot. You might Smothering Tithe burn card with this. Honestly,
are we looking at the wrong effect here? Sorry,
yeah,
the bottom.
It might be B tier just because this is a decent burn commander. Because if you're making tokens by your own effect, you're burning people out.
Yeah, I know. I've got so hung up on the first triggered ability. Now I'm thinking, like, what is a good token generating strategy? I feel like there's got to be loops or lines of play where you just make tokens. Am I wrong?
There's probably, I don't know if there's loops, but you can make enough bulk tokens that you just kill people.
That would be funny, dude, to just have what is it, is it Thopter Foundry? Or just any of those like cube worthy cards. Not Thopter Foundry. There's one that taps to make like a Thopter, a Servo.
Wait,
you
what's
just
his
like
name? We got that dumb white card that recently got printed that makes you tokens.
Someone said Delny for triggers. It's kind of cool, actually. He makes Forbidden Orchard legit a good card.
Oh yeah, true. That's pretty funny.
That's really funny. Take a token. Take a token. Yeah, I actually, I'm sorry. I'm moving him to B.
Yeah, Charismatic Conqueror. That's the thing I was thinking. Whenever an artifact or creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, untapped, they either tap it or you make a 1/1. A 1/1 with lifelink.
Oh, bullshit. That's funny.
Yeah.
Stop.
Get burned.
Wait, and not only that, like, you're also copying the thing, right? Oh, well, I mean, if it's a artifact token, but Um, yeah, that's kind of cool. You know what's really funny though? Kambal against Najila.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Oh, swing!
Wait, no. There's multiple Nagila triggers. You're only getting one.
Is that oh fuck, is that how that reads? Wait.
Yeah.
Is that
Hold
how
up.
that reads?
I want to check that.
Wait, whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller. Oh, that's
Yep.
so weird. Create a 1/1. Yeah. Never mind. Okay. Wow, they worded that real funny. They worded that really perfectly. It gives to an opponent, but you copy it. Yeah. I really like this Kimball, guys. I think that this is another list I would like to brew on the channel. I would like to find the token generating strategies that actually play well into this. And I think that it's just a good counter for a lot of things. And obviously it's really meta dependent, like depending on what you're playing against. But generally speaking, people do make tokens. Especially if there's one guy at your table playing Tivit like Will was suggesting. But I like it. I think it's definitely B range for sure.
Yeah.
Moving on to Bridges.
The last effect is surprisingly good. But next, we have Reach's Blast Maker. Honestly, not that great of a card, but I'm going to give the rundown of its effect, and we can judge it based off that. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do flip a coin, if you win the coin flip, copy that spell. If you and choose new targets for the copy. If you lose the coin flip, you deal damage equal to that spell's CMC to any target. Not horrible, because you can double up effects sometimes, but you have to sacrifice an artifact to use it. But not good enough, because you can just do what's his name? Krark the Thumbless, and you get the same major effect. Like, I get this is heads I win, tails you lose type of effect instead of an actual coin flip, but inconsistent. Bad.
Sorry, someone mentioned Abdul Adrian. It seems like
Abdel, right?
Abdel. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Call the Copper Coat is not going to work. Call the Copper Coat is not going to work for Kambal.
For casual, yes. For cEDH, no. The reason why is because you're getting a crap ton of tokens and you're just burning people for a lot.
It's only
one or more. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. You're right. Never mind. I'm crazy. Whenever one or more tokens enters the battlefield under your control, then you drain each opponent for one. So you can't make the tokens in a burst. You have to make them one at a time. That's unfortunate. That's a lot worse, but it's still a good drain effect if you have ways of consistently making tokens. Dang, misread that last part.
I'm going to put Bridges in D.
Yeah.
And I think we can honestly put this next one in D. I'll read it really quickly, though. It's a generic and is it for Eris Roar of the Storm. This was in one of the Commander Precons. 4/4 body, Elemental Warlock. And this is in the Commander Precon where the commander is actually quite good. Jenna? We'll get to her. Jelly. This costs 2 less to cast for each different mana value among instants and sorcery cards in your graveyard. Cool. Flying and prowess. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 4/4 red dragon elemental creature token with flying and prowess. It's got way better things to do. So I'm gonna put this in D.
I'd put this in C. People would have fun with this in casual because you just make a lot of dragon tokens and start punching people hard with prowess.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I shouldn't downplay how powerful prowess is. Like, this is clearly, it's like a limited storm. You're trying to cast a handful of spells each turn and then take over the board with dragons and this sucker. And obviously, like, at 10 CMC, God, you can, what can you do? What can you do with this? Fling? Does that rely on CMC? What damage?
Power.
No. What is there an effect that relies on the cost of the card to damage people? It doesn't matter. Never mind.
Not sure. Well,
yeah, we're not worried about it.
To really quickly blitz through the next three, Crom, significantly worse Crom. Leela, you don't have enough good is it specifically cards that this is ever a viable commander, so Leela just literally does nothing. Malcolm the Eyes. When you cast your second spell each turn, you investigate.
Sorry, these are D's in your mind? I'm putting them in D.
Yeah, these are D's in my mind.
Okay.
And Malcolm the Eyes, there's another commander that costs one more that does the exact same thing, but you don't have to crack the clue. You just draw a card.
Did
Um,
you do Leela?
yeah, Leela. Leela's horrible because for a multicolor spell, that would mean an Izzet spell. There's like 72 Izzet spells, and only one of them is good to copy. Like,
Yeah.
really good to copy.
Yeah, Malcolm the Eyes is cute, but I wouldn't say that this is the best Malcolm, and it's definitely not the best Izzet commander. It's still not bad. I would say it's probably one of the better ones here. Eris is fun for casual, and Malcolm is just okay. You're still making a clue token for those Kumbals. But I'm going to put these in D.
Yeah.
We're going to just jump to the better one. Stella Lee. Wow, I was way off. Go on.
All right. Stella Lee wildcard. 1 blue-red for a legendary human rogue with 2 power and 4 toughness. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, exile the top card of your library, and you may cast it until the end of your next turn. You can also tap and copy target instant or sorcery spell you control, and you may choose new targets for that copy. Activate only if you've cast 3 or more spells this turn. Well, that's a dramatic reversal commander for infinite mana right there.
Right.
Also, really good Magecraft setup, because if you cast any fork effect, you fork your fork and then fork your fork and then fork your fork for infinite Magecraft. And that first effect is really good because it's a card draw effect that fuels a card draw effect.
What is the spell that... There's plenty of blue spells that just untap target creature.
Like Twiddle.
Twiddle.
Yeah, there's
right.
things that untap multiple things. What is it? There's a thing like Dream's Grip or something like that.
Isn't there one that just draws you a card though?
Yeah, there's a couple that draw you cards.
Right. So basically, it's a A plus B combo with those things, provided you've cast enough spells. Yeah. 3 or more.
Long and short, Stella Lee combos with literally everything while also being a commander that has enough draw that she actually kind of competes with Tymna for draw. Yeah, this is just S. Wholeheartedly S, not even a question.
S for Stella?
Yeah, S for Stella.
Do you think it's difficult to hit 3 or more spells this turn?
Not at all. Because it's like, okay, you cast because it's not even cast 3 or more instances sorceries, it's spells. So cast a fast mana, cast something that doesn't really matter, and then cast your third thing. That's your third spell, you can copy it.
Right. And what's nice is that she actively, even if you're running in a hand, she'll help you get there with her top trigger. Yeah. It's hard to argue with. Yeah, feel free to let me know all of the cards Cerulean Wisp draws. Yeah, I'm just curious for all of the just cheap, easy untap a thing, draw a card, like Cerulean Wisp, 1 blue, instant creature, target creature becomes blue until end of turn, untap that creature, draw a card. Right, so yeah, I'll put that on the stack. I'll put a copy of that on the stack. I'll untap Stella Lee. Put a copy on the stack. I'll untap Stella Lee. Put a copy on the stack. Shadowmoor foils of Cerulean Wisp, by the way, are going to go way the hell up. But there are just a multitude of really good effects to play with her to help you storm. I like that Stella Lee is making you play with fun cards that are honestly not bad in a general setting, but are really good in tandem with her. I like that she's just pure value. I like that she's 3 CMC for a 2/4. Again, I can't say it enough. We all need decent blockers. She's got a fat butt. Trust me. That's why that guy's spilling his beer, I guess. But it's a great card. It's great. I think that it does fall. I think it does fall in S. Yeah, it's hard to argue with. No way she competes with Tymna. Cerulean Wisp, Hidden Strings. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Grizzly. Thank you, Joshua. Cards of House. She casts cards to exile the top. Mm-hmm.
She costs cards to exile the top, meaning that you have to play cards to get the top. The reason why I say that she competes with Tymna is you can get up to 4 cards per rotation, and you're getting cards to fuel the 4 cards per rotation. Mm-hmm. You are getting like 2 to 3 cards every rotation with Stella. I'd say probably 2. Like, let's say 2. Yeah. Tymna's getting like 2 to 3 draws a turn. Stella is competing with Tymna. And Tymna probably wins because you can more consistently get the 3. Stella could get 4, but Stella's still getting 2 a turn, which is competing with Tymna. or two
She counts as the
rotation.
third spell. She can count as the third spell. Yeah. I think that, you'll probably run a few dig effects. Like, I think I mentioned this when we talked about her initially, but I would definitely play Frantic Search in here. Anything that's going to give me a refund and let me dig through my list to help me find solutions is going to be great. Again, we don't have great tutors in this color. We do for our effects that we care about. Namely the spells that will combo with her once we hit 3 or more. But like the Spell Seeker is going to help you hit the 3 or more. Everything, I don't think it'll be difficult to get there with Stella Lee.
Yeah, she combos off very easily.
And did you also mention that she's an outlaw?
I did not, but to be fair, you don't really care about Outlaws, and is it?
Okay. I think she deserves to sit up there with Satoru. 100%.
Yeah, wholeheartedly.
She's good. Yeah.
And,
But let us know if you have any other thoughts on her. Guys, if you're building lists for Stella Lee, let us know. I'd be curious to see how you've directed that deck. And again, there's going to be a lot of cool spells in there, which I'm happy to see. So, and I think that ultimately, you're going to win with a Thassa's Oracle, and that's fine. But at least this is an interesting way to get there, and probably one of the better Izzet commanders we have. Do you think you'll break Gale Guild Artisan and maybe switch to Stella Lee? I know you wanted to try
I'll
her.
keep Gale together because I really don't have a reason to tear my decks apart because sleeves are the most expensive thing to constantly shift around. So,
but do you like Stella enough would you want to build her?
I'm building Stella, and I'm probably playing that deck more than the Gale deck.
Okay, that's fair.
Because even like with Stella's last effect, you just double up on tutors or card draw to keep your hand full, with the first effect also keeping your hand full. Stella's just really good at grinding in, really good at comboing.
That's a ton of mana. What is she can counter? One of the funny combos with it is Twisted Fealty. I'll look it up. I'll bite. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Create a Wicked Roll token attached to one target creature. That's really not that much. It's 2 generic and a red.
No, it's a funny combo because you keep putting the Wicked Roll tokens on. When the Wicked Roll token falls off, you deal 1 damage, or you drain each opponent 1. And when you put a new roll token on a creature, they lose the old roll token. So it's just infinite damage or infinite loss of life. Your 1 ring doesn't protect you here.
Hold up. Oh, are you gonna run Twisted Fealty in your build?
Probably not, but baby, that's funny.
Wait, that's why this is good.
This is 3 really mana good. It's 3 mana to do the thing, but it's like, well, you just run the cantrips that do the untap stuff more likely.
But what if you just played her though? It's giving her the haste, right? But no, you're fucked actually, because she will never be able to copy it.
Yeah.
The haste, it felt relevant, and then I'm like, wait, no, this doesn't sequence right. Even still, that's really funny. With Satoru, yeah. I do think that those two are definitely going to be competitively viable. Satoru and Stella Lee. They're definitely cEDH worthy in our books. But again, let us know if there's anything else you feel like could bump up there, guys. We've got a handful more to go through, so let's keep that ball rolling with Honest Rutstein. All right, Mr. Rutstein. Tell us honestly, where do you land? For generic and Golgari, 3/2 body, no questions, no refunds. Human Warlock, Outlaw. When Honest Rutstein enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Like a really bad Ewit. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. I don't know. That seems like a refund to me, Rutstein.
Yeah, there is a Hermit Druid combo that you can run. Not that great of a commander. There's a bunch of commanders that care about Hermit Druid more than this. I'd give him a D.
For dishonest? I would say it. I would say that a cost reduction counts as a refund, sir. But yeah, I'll put him in the D territory because I think our next Golgari Legendary is just a wee bit better and maybe more in line with what you want to be doing with your life, guys. Huh?
I'll let you cover the next one by yourself because I'm going to quickly do a thing. I'll be back in like a minute.
Oh, is it RuPaul? Yeah, take your
No,
time.
it's RuPaul. Gotta pause RuPaul.
This card is fun for sure. And B. Um, sorry, Rudstein. Sorry, we were maybe a little too quick on him. She's just a storm commander with extra dig potential, copy rituals for extra oomph. I think long term, like if you're not winning game, then yeah, she's probably going to play like a storm list that's leaning more towards control to just like help you maintain decent board state whilst hampering your opponents before they go off and win. I do think that you could find trouble potentially with getting to the 3 or more, but I doubt it'll be that hard with like how low the curves are. You might even, I mean, the thing I'm thinking about that's going to be silly that you might have to do is like cast a spell and swan song it. Like you might have to counter your own thing to hit 2 and then play, because that last spell when you play your Cerulean Tears, it just needs to be the third thing. So you can cast your own spell, counter your own spell, Cerulean Tears, you know, all of that on the stack, and then tap her. So I think you'll get there. And because the tap doesn't cost you anything, it's just the mana to do those other effects. But that's Stellarly in a nutshell in my mind. But Gidrog, the Ravenous Ride, if you guys weren't here yesterday, we did discuss this list, and at length, obviously. It was a full deck tech, and it did perform well. I will say that we definitely leaned in pretty heavily to Wall of Blood. That isn't to say that's the only route you need to go, and that's not to say that the list is entirely settled. It's just a blueprint for you guys to follow, but I definitely recommend you check out that list. But the Gidrog Ravenous Ride, 6/5 body, frog horror mount, trample haste. Whenever the Gitrog Ravenous Ride deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a creature that's saddled at this turn. If you do, draw X cards, then put X land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped where X is a sacrificed creature's power. Saddle 1. So anything can ride this, but not everything riding this is going to be essential. Also, it's a May, so it's not like when you do this, they have to be sacrificed. It's just an opportunity for straddling this beast. Or I should say frog horror. It's not a beast. I think that leaning towards Wall of Blood is the right way to go. I don't think leaning on artificially increasing the power of your creatures, say with an Invigorate, is the right way. We wound up nixing that very quickly. And again, I don't think it's bad. Like, you know, some of the effects you might find in a Savala that make your thing a 6/5 Hydra or whatever. I forget a lot of the buff spells on that list, but some of those things might be neat or might be useful, but I would rather just have those raw values on creatures to play this, because more or less you're looking to, if you drop the ball or you aren't able to combo for a win, and not to spoil anything, but we were very effectively able to combo for wins after one attack with Gitrog, and or just play stacks and like slow the game down, you're going to want to reanimate that body. So having an Invigorate is nice, but having a big body that you can reanimate and reuse is even better. But because we're in Golgari, you just have the option to find Wall of Blood very, very easily. It's a 3 CMC creature, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. It's a 2 generic and a black. It's a 0/1, so you do need to pay a life to make it a +1/+1 to start saddling. But after that, you can... It's essentially, the way I likened it was, it's like having Necropotence in Zur. It's essentially, Wall of Blood is your Necropotence. And it's a little bit more valuable. We were talking about Amulet of Vigor, I think, near the end of that stream, because the land's coming to play tapped. It wound up not being necessary, though. We never slotted it into the list, but I think that's just icing on the cake. For when things do go wrong, lands are generally the safest permanent on the battlefield, because people don't like seeing Ravages of War or Armageddon or any sort of mass destruction. So you're going to bounce back really, really well, even if you fail. And remember, it's trample and haste. So even if the Gitrog is removed, like, you're going to be able to cast it again very easily, and you'll be able to power through another turn. Again, the issue with Golgari is it doesn't have great protection spells, really. Not quite like white and not quite like blue. But I do think that the Ravenous Ride is in A territory. Sorry, I spoke that very much at length. Will, I think I covered maybe everything. Is there anything you want to say about the Gitrog?
Yeah, A. Maybe potentially S, but A.
It felt a lot like old Gitrog, because a lot of the hands we got, and mind you, we did goof a little bit. We didn't have Carpet of Flowers and some of the cheap ramp pieces in the deck, at least with some of our first gold fishing rounds. And I do think that we could have more consistently hit hands that would have had like very quick Gitrog, very quick attack slash build up to drawing and dumping lands. But I don't think it's going to be as consistent as those other two. I don't think so. I think you're probably going to have to mull the hands of like 5 and 4 more often than you would with Stella Lee and Sawtrue, just by nature of the fact that they're 2 CMC and 3 CMC. It's like, and you just want to put Stella Lee down and then grind, where Sawtrue is like, find the hand that plays him, which is easy, the 2 lands, and then just have the other elements in place to just start drawing through your deck. Where the Gitrog, it's like, I need like so many forms of ramp. We wound up always tutoring for Jeweled Lotus, and I don't know. I would just like more opportunities to play the thing easily and efficiently, and being able to use my tutors for the cards that will actually finish the game, not just put my commander into play. Does that make sense? I think that's sort of my hang up. At any rate, that was a lot of talking. If you guys have thoughts on the Gitrog, though, please let me know. I was thinking a lot about the Git last night, and I think it is way too much of a glass cannon. Yeah, I don't disagree. I really don't disagree. It could be the 3rd spell or after, just 2 spells. Yeah. Rain of Filth is also a really good thing. Just need more. Yeah. Rain of Filth would have been a really good ritual for the list. You're absolutely right. Rain of Filth makes it so you can sacrifice your lands for swamps, for black mana. They don't need to be swamps, I should say. Not to confuse anyone. Need Conqueror's Flail, Defense Grid. Yeah, I think that some of those effects would have been good. I highly recommend you check out the stream. I think we built a very glass cannon build, but I do think you can make a more effective mid-range list out of it.
Agreed.
Okay. Moving on.
Vraska the Silencer.
She put her boots on me anytime.
For a 3/3 Gorgon Assassin. She's an outlaw with Death Touch. Whatever non-token creature an opponent controls dies, you may pay 1. If you do, return it to the battlefield tapped under your control as a treasure artifact with treasure text, and loses all other card types. As a cEDH commander, yes, this does mess with graveyard decks. Yes, this does get you a lot of value and stuff, and yes, this does let you bottle up mana for later. But you're heavily relying on your opponent's stuff, and because of that, I'd say this is C or D.
Would you want to play this in casual, you imagine?
It's not bad in casual, because you are still able to get some really cool, greedy effects in casual. So I think it could be fun in casual, but I know it's not competitive. Or at least I don't believe it's competitive in my opinion.
I mean, it's cool. I think it's... yeah, I mean, you just need a value removal in this deck. Have a little bit of mana left over. You get a refund because you create a treasure, and you're returning that card to the battlefield tapped. So it's not even an option for them anymore. I kind of wish it was you exile it and then you create a token copy of it. That's like a treasure artifacts Gorgon thing.
Yeah.
It's not bad though. It's really not bad. I like it in C.
I mean, to be fair, if you kill your opponent's devoted druid, you're having a great time, but
I just don't know. Yeah, I just don't know if you're going to play this in a cEDH setting, like what do you really what's the best thing you can accomplish with this, because it's not really helping you achieve a goal, or it's not aiding to a play line that helps you win, but it is good value. I see this in C. I don't think it's D. I don't think it's bad necessarily. I think early on, Pub Stomp said Bruce Tarl S tier, so let's see it. You want to cover Bruce here?
Bruce Tarl, Roving Rancher, 2 red-white for a legendary creature, human warrior with 4 power and 3 toughness. Oxen you control have double strike. Whenever Bruce enters or attacks, exile the top card of your library. If it's a land, make a 2/2 white Ox token. Otherwise, you may cast that card until the end of the next turn. Yeah, you get to make occasional oxes, and he's just a big guy that draws you one extra card per turn. I'd say I'd give him C because he's an actual Ox tribal commander. If you want to try to do that, but C to D,
How many ox are there? Oxen.
not a ton.
C to D as well.
We'll give him C for fun's sake.
If it's a land creature, I mean, the odds are likely that you're gonna. Odds are likely that you're gonna get something to cast. Yeah, I like it. It's cool. I wish he kind of counted as an ox. I mean, he's riding an ox in this picture, but I get why it's about brews. Excuse me. I like him at C. I would want to do something with him. I feel like a silly oxen build, and also, mind you, you can run anything that's changeling, so you can have double striking oxen, and there's that one the mirror entity that can get big, right, and then give it double strike. That could be fun,
Yeah.
right? Trying to put on my casual cap here. Is only specifically good against creatures with high power effects, and even then not that reliable? Are we referring to brews? Or we're talking about Eartha Joe now, though.
Eartha Joe, Frontier Mentor.
Am I right? Yeah, we didn't miss anything.
Yeah, 2 red white for legendary creature, core advisor with 2 power, 4 toughness. When this enters the battlefield, you create a mercenary token with the mercenary effect. And whenever you activate an ability that targets a creature or a player, copy that ability. You may choose new targets for that copy. I don't know how many good target effects there are that you want to copy. Yes, this doubles up on your ping effects. This can double up on some removal effects. But unless there's good target draw effects for abilities, I don't know if this is good.
Is this the Savala effect? Is there like a storied reason why they have the same effect?
Savala is when you cast a creature, you make a mercenary. This is ETB, make a mercenary.
I mean, but they're like, are the mercenary tokens? Are the mercenary tokens just like built this way? They're kind of different. They just get to buff other things.
That's the mercenaries. That's how they work.
I guess so. That's how those outlaws handle it out on the frontier. Whenever you activate an ability that targets is there anything fun you can do with that?
I don't know. I'd say C because I don't think there's anything that you can do high power with her, but for casual, there's probably a ton of things. I'd love to be proven wrong, though. She would be cool for his combo.
Yeah, no, because it's not like once per turn, so it is getting me thinking, like, whenever you activate an ability that targets a creature or player, copy that ability. Choose new targets for the copy. Anytime I see something like this, you always think like, oh, is there some sort of dual caster kind of nonsense you can do? And I know this is not necessarily the same kind of thing happening here, but just having a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. And nothing's immediately coming to mind. Sunforger here is a suggestion. Ollie Oxen Brews works with Manifold Key or Voltaic Key with Palladium Mirror, but not great. My previous comment was about Frosca. Thank you, person. Copyability equals good. Also, Joe Turd.
If you do Voltaic Key, not specifically not Manifold Key, if you do Voltaic Key, it can untap itself. So it's like a Voltaic Key Soul Ring is infinite mana. Or sorry, Voltaic Key Soul Ring is infinite mana with this. Yeah, okay. No, it has to target a creature. Okay, never mind. Hold up.
So the Palladium.
Yeah, Palladium Metalworker, name a thing that taps for 2 or more.
Spelling wrong. 2 L's. Feels so weak.
There are probably things that you can do, but I am not going to look through to try to find them.
Yeah, it needs to be a creature. Thanks, guys. Let us know if there's any Eartha Joe combos. Staff of Dom. Yeah,
untap 2 creatures instead of 1, so it can hopefully make the combos a little bit more fluid and effective. So
I
Yeah,
like it. I'm not immediately thinking of anything, but then again, I don't really, my mind doesn't really think in Boros that often, so that could be why. Taika Waititi, perfect shot, Boros. 2/3 body, human mercenary. Whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to a creature equal to that creature's toughness, draw a card. Oh, card draw, you say? Tell me more. Pay X, tap. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a permanent or player this turn, it deals that much damage plus X instead. That's right. I'm going to deal just enough. Right, so the whole idea is that this perfect shot, no matter what you're doing, no matter how you're pinging, you're going to get in the damage sufficient enough to kill the thing. It's 2 CMC, so you should have this down pretty early, and then you can get the ball rolling on this plan. I don't know. I guess this is the deck where you could potentially run Shock for a meaningful purpose. That purpose being draw. There's a lot of 2 defense things that drop early. It's kind of funny to think that like Shock is maybe valid. I don't know. This feels like a lot of work for draw.
yeah.
We just I don't know. We just
really
got
worth it.
we just got a Demir guy. We just got a Demir guy who made it really easy.
Yeah, I'd probably say that Tay is D.
Yeah. For damage, D for damage.
Yeah.
Tail get it in there, but is that a
Next.
plasma rifle from Halo? It might just be.
Yeah, we gotta. That's like the thing that everybody uses in the set. It's some kind of plasma rifle. But next we have Bonnie Pal. 6
Randall,
mana.
we haven't gotten to Marchesa yet. I'm sorry. Just to showcase who we're missing. There's a couple of legendaries left to handle. I'm sorry. Go for it though.
But we got a Bonnie Pal, a legendary creature that enters as a copy of another. Or hold on.
You're just making that up.
Oh, sorry, yeah, no, I got this wrong. Never mind. So yeah, legendary creature that enters and then makes a cow with power and toughness equal to the lands you control. Big Dumb Beaters doesn't count as commander damage. Bad. D.
Cute bovine though.
Yeah, indeed.
Whenever you attack, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield, or from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield.
Yeah, you can.
Why don't you like that
ramp
ability
a little
for
bit,
6
you can
mana?
draw. But it's
You don't like that
6 mana
ability?
draw. There's better land commanders.
Look,
Is that-
all you gotta do is you just crop rotation for your Hall of the Banded Lord, and then as soon as you play her, you're in Value City. You don't like Bonnie Powell
No.
or Bo?
Also, it's not
Okay.
whenever she attacks; it's whenever you attack. So you can attack.
Oh, there you
that
go.
elf. Get it?
Yeah, you can crop rotation anything now. I think that Simic has a good commander. I'm not gonna say his name. I don't know if Bonnie is it, but Bonnie looks really cool. I gotta say, I like this card a lot. I hope we see more of Bonnie. I like when they introduce these like really cool ass characters that are super flavorful on theme, like this. It'd be cool if they came up with another Bonnie Pell that wasn't so expensive, or it had some sort of cost reduction attached to it, or something more for 6 CMC. You said D. I think I'm gonna go with you there.
Yeah, if you made a Bonnie that cost like 3 mana and drop the cow completely, change the stat line to match for it, I might play that because you can strip mine lock people with the last effect. Just keep getting back strip mine, slowly burn people out. So if you're playing a control deck, you waste people.
Voltaic Construct goes super hard in Eartha Joe. It's Paul Bunyan. Can we talk about Satoru after? I think I must be missing something. Oh, you guys can talk about Satoru in the chat. If you'd like, Grizzly, I know you came in late, but I definitely recommend you maybe wind it back, because the live chat should go back to that area, and then also you can hear our conversation on it. But it was really good discussion.
The long and short of Satoru is Flicker for infinite, play 0 cost for infinite, or reanimate for infinite. You have 3 different ways that you can build the deck. You can mix and match all you want. The commander is insane.
I'm corpse dancing. I'm doing the revivify shit to just go infinite for sure. That's my favorite flavor for that deck for sure. Sorry, not to boss you around there, but I do think it was a fun discussion we all had. I got really hung up on Sachuru. I've been wanting to build it, and I think having this conversation with you guys has encouraged me to want to build it even more. So thanks for joining the live stream. I really appreciate it. Jesper Art on Doc, Orlok Grizzled Genius, another 2 CMC commander from the new set. Bear Druid, spells you cast from your graveyard or from exile cost 2 less to cast. Plotting cards from your hand cost 2 less.
D. There's better cost reduction commanders that you can play, and specifically only discounting graveyard and exile means that you have to play in a graveyard and exile, and that feels bad.
Exile, though, plotting makes them, you pay their cost and you get to do them for free later.
Yeah.
D for Doc. I don't dislike this card, though. Is there a, what is it, like you're playing Flashback or you're playing Retrace, you're playing...
Hey, if you're doing Uber Mask stuff, it's fun, but...
Yeah, Uber Mask would be cool with this. I'm just trying to think, I'm trying to give him a fighting chance here. But, not to mirror, the Simic is an interesting part of the color pie for this. Kind of wish we were in the color of Impulse Drawing.
Yeah, if we had green, or if we had a red in there instead of green or blue, then it would have been great.
A really amazing Jessica's Will. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get all this mana, and I'm going to cast these things for less. Let's go. Yeah, I kind of wish this was in different colors, but it's fine. I think D for Doc is fine. Sorry. This is one I had high hopes for. I still really like, but I haven't looked into the tech for it. And I'll cover it really quick. Ariette. Oh, God. Sorry. Ariette the Beguiler. For generic and Abzan. 4/4 body, human warlock, lifelink. That's the most important. Esper. Jeez, what did Abzan is not. Yeah, Abzan is not these colors.
Yeah, Abzan's a white, green, black.
There's green in there.
You swapped the blue for green, and you were right.
I think my aversion to blue has affected my knowledge of the shards. Is that what those are? It's affected my trip color knowledge. Yeah, I know my dual color. I know my guilds. Okay. Whenever
but
an
do you
aura,
know your 4 colors?
No.
I do.
Well, God,
because I'm a nerd.
Enlighten us. Give me the 4 colors.
The everything but black is ink. Everything but white is glint, and those are the 2 that are swapped out what you think they would be. Because Sans black is ink.
Yeah.
Sans white is glint. Then you have no blue is Dune, no red is Witch, and no green is Yor, because you're not in green.
Mm-hmm. Ty Waken's second effect was Grape Shot, since they're separate instances. Yeah.
But they have to connect to draw the card, so after you kill the thing, then the rest of them fizzle. And it has to be one instance of exact damage, so if you ping off a 1/3, you don't get the draw.
Oh, so, I'm sorry, where are we? Whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a non-land permanent, an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to the aura's mana value, gain control of that permanent for as long as that aura is attached to it. I don't remember that middle bit of text. An opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to the aura's mana value. So I love the idea of stealing things from my opponents. I really, really do. Yeah. I don't know how valid this is. Because what are the best things we can steal? I know in our heads, like, oh, I really want that Rhystic Study. I would love your Orcish Bowmaster. Any sort of mind control effects, aura based. And the thing is, whatever aura you play, it doesn't need to gain control of the thing, because that's what is effectively happening here. Right? So you can use like a effect that, like a aura that would buff a thing, I suppose. Or how would like a totem armor effect work in this? Does totem armor Like, bestow on Mars, an enchanted creature would die or be destroyed. Instead, remove all damage from and destroy this aura. No, you wouldn't want that. You would definitely want the thing to die. Trying to think of, like, there's a couple of auras that return to your hand after they leave the battlefield, or there are easy ways to get them back.
Yeah. Already is really good as like a removal commander because every aura you either run self-recurring auras or you run cantrip
Mm-hmm.
auras and then you just steal every creature. Sadly, stealing artifacts or stealing enchantments is not really viable because most auras that enchant those things hurt those things. So it's like, oh, I stole your Rhystic Study, but it loses all abilities. Or, oh, I stole your Mana Crypt, but I can't activate any of its activated abilities. So Already is really good at messing with creatures, but only creatures. I'd say
Yeah,
B though.
I would say you would say B. Steel enchantment is a thing. Yeah, you could run steel enchantment.
Yeah, and that means that Already will have it steal the enchantment as well as stealing the enchantment.
Gift of immortality. Yeah, what the thing is, the bottom line is I would like to look into auras that just enchant permanents, and that's sort of where I would need to go from her. She's definitely like a build around B kind of commander. I think she could potentially be good, and the more auras that come out for her to play with, the better she'll get, for sure. But someone was asking about Marchesa in the comments. We're about to get there. There's two really interesting ones side by side here. But Marchesa, Dealer of Death. We've got a Grixis commander, human rogue, outlaw, 3/4 body. Whenever you commit a crime, you may pay 1. If you do, look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. So this is technically an outlet with the card you mentioned earlier in the show today, Will.
Yeah, the
Eater of the
Forsaken
Dead.
Miner.
Eater of the Dead, I was going to say.
Oh,
But yeah,
yeah.
Forsaken Miner. Well, I mean, so we're immediately thinking, okay, how can we commit crime infinitely? And there's a couple ways you can do it. I mean, Forsaken Miner just came out in the set, and that's a good way to do it, right? There are lines of plays for Forsaken Miner. Eater of the Dead, one we referred to earlier, it's a 5 CMC creature that lets you pay 0 to exile a creature from a graveyard and untap it. There's a lot you can play with this, but is it good enough? You need to pay 1, so whatever you're doing, you need to have infinite mana, provided you want to go through your deck, right? Set up your graveyard for like a Underworld Breach line, or and then if you had infinite mana, you just want to put the shit in your hand to win, which is ultimately Thassa's Oracle. I just feel like there's better Grixis commanders. I was really excited for this one.
I'll say
So
that Marchesa is a really good Grixis Reanimator commander because ignore doing infinite crimes, ignore any crazy thing.
yeah.
Just drawing a card and then milling a card is a good enough effect that you can probably run some kind of Reanimator package and win the game. Or just do Grixis Control because drawing a card over and over and over again is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like paying 3 mana, drawing 3 isn't too bad. So I think that
Yeah.
Marchesa does enough work that she's at least a B.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think she could be in B territory. I don't think there are many Grixis commanders that operate in quite the same way as her, but if you look at her as just a setup commander, it's not bad. You know, if you know you have like one solution in your hand for a reanimate play, and you know you can play that thing, you can commit a crime, use a top deck tutor to set up the play. You can bin the thing as part of this play line. It does feel mana heavy, but it's only one generic on top of whatever else you're doing. And hopefully the crime you're playing is like a snuff out or something. You're just removing a threat to get the ball rolling. So, you know, how high is that mana threshold? It's super, super dependent. I feel like this is an interesting value mander, and I think it probably goes into B at the most. B.
Yeah. But next, a commander that is a very solid C, but a very fun C, Obeka, Splitter of Seconds. 1 blue, black, red for a 2/5 legendary creature ogre warlock with menace. When Obeka deals combat damage to a player, you take that many additional upkeeps after this phase. Um, Reason why this is a really solid C, intuition. Maybe even good enough to make it Obeka a B, but or initiative, not intuition, my bad. The initiative. Because if you punch a player, steal the initiative, then you have 2 extra upkeeps that will trigger the initiative on each of those upkeeps, and when you steal it, meaning that you get 3 initiatives, which will eventually go down to the Undercity and give Obeka a bunch of counters, which means that you're going to be doing the initiative faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And the rest of the things that you do on the initiative path are search a basic land to hand, deal or target player loses 5 life, put counters on Obeka, draw a card, and look at the top blank cards from your library. I think 10. Look at the top 10 cards of your library. Put a creature from among them from your hand into play, and then it gains hexproof and 3 counters. So Obeka's really done with the initiative, and there's a bunch of other things that Obeka's really done with. But
what are the
cEDH, I think it's a little bit too slow, but maybe good enough. But I'd say D for Obeka.
I mean, there's also the courts, right? Obviously, you can run the courts, and the timing of it works really neatly too. I'm only going to focus on the Grixis ones here just to illustrate what I'm talking about. But there are the courts you can run. Court of Ire, whenever it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, Court of Ire deals 2 damage to any target. If you're the monarch, it deals 7 damage to that player or permanent instead. That's pretty ghastly amounts of damage. It is 5 CMC, but bear with me here. And then there's the Court of Lochthwain, the Court of Vantris. I'll leave them on the screen so you can check them out. But I know these were kind of murmured when Obeka came out. Anything that cares about your upkeep, obviously, is going to be useful with her. You know, is this a list where I think Court of Ire is maybe the best one. And like, if you just buffed Obeka and you just got that to trigger multiple times, you probably can kill at least one player, if not damn another one at the same time. Is this like I want to say, is this like an extra turns deck? What is the best Obeka strategy? I don't really know. I don't know what anyone else is doing for Obeka, but I'd be curious to hear what you guys think of it. I really want this to be good because of this effect, but I just don't know.
I would say initiative is the best with Obeka, because once you get through the dungeon like twice, Obeka's at the point where she has 8 power, and that's like, oh, go through the dungeon 2 more times. Oh, get 4 more counters on Obeka. Okay, get through the dungeon 3 times on your next attack. Repeat. The initiative is probably the best because it will burn people to death. It will cheat in all creatures from your deck. It will draw all of your lands and keep your hand full.
Is Obeka the most hyped casual commander? The most hyped commander of the set for casuals, really. The people like Mama Orc over here. Crypt takes us back out on the 50-50. Yeah, Crypt really screws you here. Obeka works with Shimes? Braid of Fire.
Shrines.
Yes, Braid of
Shrines?
Shrines. I think you meant Shrines. Shimes. It could be good, possibly. The red-black Shrines can be brutal. Wee woo. Yeah, I mean, what are you really doing with red mana on your... I mean, you can also use... I brought up Thran Turbine to Will off camera. Thran Turbine, get your generic. I've always wanted to have Thran Turbine as like a playable card. I really love this card. I always think back to this card. I'm like, it's free mana. It's good, right? There's got to be something for it, and not even Thrasios wants it. So it just feels okay.
Bad's boring is bad.
Obeka C.
Yeah.
Obeka for C. Let us know if there's a cEDH viable blend. Braid of Fire plus the enchantment that gives you an extra combat. I do believe you mean Aggravated Assault, and I'm fairly certain that Aggravated Assault wouldn't work. Give me 1 second.
Speed activation.
Correct. Thank you. So Aggravated Assault says activate only as a sorcery. as part of its new text, not this onslaught. It's all the same. It's just worded differently, but yeah, it is very much a sorcery speed effect. That's why there are a couple lists that could have really benefited from that. But again, like, Radha or anything that's generating mana during combat that doesn't carry it over, I should say, is just not useful with it. At any rate, we're going to move on to Annie Flash, the veteran. For a lot of mana, 4/5 human rogue, outlaw. Flash. Imagine if she didn't have Flash. When Annie Flash, the veteran, enters the battlefield, if you cast it, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Whenever Annie Flash becomes tapped, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. Let him have it, Will. What do you think about this mythic rare?
Honestly, B, only because you can do Hermit Druid stuff where you mill your entire deck and then use this to get out Underworld Breach. Also, that second effect, or bottom effect, whatever you want to say, is not bad. It's draw 2 additional cards every turn. Creature has a really good stat line. The creature's kind of interaction in the command zone in a bad situation. The card's all around pretty good and plays a lot like Tivit does. It is way worse than Tivit, though. And I think the card is probably like a B. Solid B.
I like Annie Flash a lot. Josh, give me your best Annie Flash tech. Are you on Hermit Druid, you think? And Matea says the starter package for Obeka is Braids of Fire, Call of the Ring. I really like Call of the Ring there. I really like Call of the Ring. Wild Wasteland, as foretold. Nope, C tier. But fun mid-level commander, yeah. It combos with a decent bit. Yeah, it's really costly, but the truth is Naya doesn't have very many great commanders. Is that fair?
They have a few, but it's not enough to kind of flood the market on them if you compare it to Grixis.
Do I want a list? I think the world might. If you want to leave a list in the comment section after this video, and I think that means like copying and pasting the cards, but if you're on the Discord, feel free to share it. I'd be interested to see an Annie Flash build. I'm not as high on her, but I do see her potential. Yes. Yeah. Fiend Hunter works well. Safi, Eric's daughter. Yeah. Yes, it would. Girid was someone talked about in our Discord just recently, and here, well, I'll let you read this one over, and you can give me your thoughts on it.
Mirror of the Wilds, Naya for legendary creature human shaman with haste, 3 power, 3 toughness, and non-token creatures you control have tapped. Create a token that's copy target token creature you control to enter the battlefield this turn. Girid can combo with a lot of different things, but doesn't immediately win. He's like a weird Kiki Jiki in the command zone, but Naya. I kind of want to say C for Girid. B might be applicable, but I think C.
Create a token that's a copy of target token you control that entered the battlefield this turn. How are you generating the tokens that your non-tokens are creating tokens of? Are we using Heat Shimmer and stuff? What are the generators?
Heat Shimmer, you can do something like Village Bellringer or Felidar Guardian, and then you make infinite copies of them. So you just get infinite creatures really easily with Girid. But that's why I'm thinking C, because it's find a weird line. Now you have infinite tokens. Wait a turn, then win the game.
This is like Nyan Grenzo or Kiki OG Grenzo, but your tokens need haste to pop off, says Verzen. Josh says battered golem with treasure. Was treasure?
Oh yeah, battered golem is when an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, untap it, so you just make infinite treasures.
Jaxus works. Jaxus works? I forget Jaxus. Wait up. Oh, this Jaxus. I like this Jaxus. Create something that's a copy of another target creature you control. It gains haste. I I am happy to put this in B if that's where the audience wants it. Here's what I'm going to do with Jirid. Jirid. S, A, or B. But be honest with yourselves, with each other. Where it really does Jirid sit. To make the tokens, of course, yeah, with Jaxus. I like that call. All right, I'll wait on Jirid. We can move on, though, to Hazan, Shaper of the Sand. Is this a new card? It is not.
Nope.
Sorry,
He's been
I meant to.
in Dominaria.
I'm like, this doesn't look like art from this set. Kiri, Talented Sprout. Oh, so cute. So cute. Aw. All right. Well, it's also Naya and a generic. Kiri, Talented Sprout, Plant Druid, 0/3 body. Other plants and tree folk you control get +2/+0. So Kiri's just a weak little nothing. So cute. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, return target plant, tree folk, or land card from your graveyard to your hand.
Doesn't really do a lot. Like, you can get that fetch land back every turn or that strip mine back every turn, but 4 mana to do that feels bad.
Yeah. Crystal Vein, always too generic. And it doesn't hurt you like Ancient Tomb does. It'll never hurt you, Will. Or City of Traders. Kiri doesn't mind. Not an outlaw. Not a good enough effect. Is there a Tree Folk Harbinger? Like, what Tree Folk are you pulling back? What plant are you pulling back?
There aren't a lot of good ones. I don't really think there's any that you pull back.
And it's to hand. Yeah. It's cool. I don't like it. What'd you say?
D.
D? Okay, thank you. I thought you said B. I'm like,
No.
It's just a cute Naya cactus. Cactus bean. Why is the plant a 0/3? Is that not normal? Would be cracked if it was to play. Yeah, I would love it if it was to play, but I feel like it's within Green's wheelhouse to put that shit back to hand. I'm not seeing much of red or much of white in this card, but it's pretty cool and it puts you in those colors, so enjoy. Yeah. Yuma.
Next we got Yuma. 5 red, green, white for a legendary creature, human ranger with 6 power and 6 toughness that costs 1 less for each land in your graveyard. Whenever Yuma enters or attacks, you may sacrifice the land. If you do, draw a card. Whenever a desert is put into your graveyard from anywhere, you create a 4/2 plant warrior creature token with reach. Does a lot of fun land stuff, but not really enough for cEDH. I'd give him a C.
Oh, that cute little baby cactus. Is that Kiri? Is he protecting Kiri?
I think it's a different baby cactus.
He's got more than one. Oh, I like these humanoid cacti babies. I think that's Kiri, dude. Unlike the what is that murderous scene or whatever from Murders at Karlov Manor, that where we assumed it's Lazov. I'm pretty sure that's Kiri.
We know the guy in that set was Lazov. Like, that was 100% Lazov. He's wearing the same clothes and everything.
This is good! The stat line kind of matches Carador. That is Kiri, says Cameron. Thank you. Okay. This is good. Version. It's got Gitrog-like lines. Wait, does this have Gitrog lines? You mean like old Gitrog?
It is when this enters the battlefield or attacks, you may sack a land if you do draw a card. Not draw a card when you sack a land.
Are you telling me there's a Dakmor Salvage play here, but not Dakmor Salvage?
So you can do stuff with the creature tokens.
Like Reach. They're plant warriors, Will.
So theoretically, if you have enough deserts in your deck, you could do Altar of Dementia and just mill your entire deck.
Because it's on ETB. Wait, I'm sorry. Since it's on ETB, can you infinite with Masswood Nexus? Are we not giving this a fair shake?
Does this go infinite with Maskwood Nexus?
Let me... So we can all see the card we're thinking about. Creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. You can pay 3 to tap it to create a 2/2 blue shapeshifter creature token changeling.
Yeah, but desert is a land type, not a creature type. So I don't think that works.
Deserts are land types, not creature types. Thank you. And yeah, I don't know. I still think it's like a C or D card, kind of card. Masswood Nexus plus Goblin Bombardment.
Yeah, but that's just you sacrifice your token and then stop there. You don't make another token.
Yeah.
Because desert is a land type, not a creature type. So,
but is it a... Are we thinking that this 4/2 is a land or desert? I'm so confused. That's... I don't see it. If someone can break it down for me in the chat, please do. But I'm gonna move on to Galen.
killing the kid.
Tell me about killing the kid. Tell me the story of killing the kid, Will.
Well, he's Bant. He's a human fairy rogue with 3 power and 3 toughness, flying and lifelink, and whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, you may cast a permanent spell with equal or lesser mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. And if you don't, you may put a land card from your hand into the battlefield. So he ramps you cards, but he also lets you cheat in a bunch of mana value stuff.
At least that's how the story goes.
Yeah. I'd give him a C. He's fun, but he doesn't do enough for competitive.
I reckon he's a C myself. I reckon he's a C. Not quite like his pappy yet. Anyways, I think we're probably done with the Geared poll. Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right, we laid it on B, folks. I'm good with that. I'm good with Geared in the B slot. I'm sorry, Mateus. We didn't get up to S, but maybe one day. Worst Chulane or Hullen. I'm upset Anti-Flash has to be cast, so you need to do food chain lines. Sad news. Yeah, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Moving on to not so great commander. Olivia Opulent Outlaw. Generic and Mardu. More like Mardon't. 3/3 body vampire assassin flying lifelink. Where are the lanterns? Whenever one or more outlaws,
you can... lanterns, not a real vampire. Fake
vampire. Fake vampire. fake vampire. Whenever one or more outlaws, she's an outlaw, you control, deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure. Yeah, she's up there as an ass. You can pay 3, sacrifice 2 treasures, right? That's what you really want to be doing with your treasures. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. Man, I'm
bad
not
from D. Moving on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If it was just sacrifice the treasures, I would still not want that ability. This makes me sad. But look at her cute cowgirl boots, and look at these like happy zombies down there. Look at everyone. Oh shit, Kiri's there too. Everyone's so stoked. But it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. D for don't. Please don't. I'm sorry. Olivia, you're gonna get a good commander one day. God, I hope. Alright, moving on to Vihan Goldwaker. Another Mardu Legend, Dwarf Warlock, 3/3 body. Other outlaws you control have vigilance and haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have treasures you control become 3/3 construct assassin. Also outlaws. 3/3 construct assassin artifact creatures in addition to the other types until end of turn. Wow.
Make your dark side punch. Your dark side woke up and chose violence.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like if you have a line of play, which again, easy to hit in Mardu, honestly, a sack outlet, a corpse dance, which we've mentioned earlier, you just net the treasures, stop, move to combat, kill everyone?
I I'd say that this is probably a
S
D
tier.
though, just because it is a lot of hoops. The first effect is probably the thing that you care about with this card more than anything else, though, just giving your outlaws haste and
What,
vigilance. But
what is there a relevancy? Is there a relevancy to having a haste enabler in the CZ for assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, warlocks?
not really.
You can't think of a single assassin, mercenary, pirate, rogue, or warlock that cares to tap itself immediately.
There are a couple, but not enough to make you want to run a commander that helps with that.
Thank you again, Mateus, the Cloudstone Curio Dockside. Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything goes infinite with Dockside, right?
Well,
Is
you see,
that
Mateus, warlocks are outlaws because they do crazy illegal voodoo stuff. Warriors aren't outlaws because there's the right time to punch people in the face.
I'm sorry. I do think that this is a B.
For
I don't think
Vion?
this is bad.
I mean,
You
you
don't
need
like
like
him?
it's like a 4 card combo if you include him as part of that. Then if you don't, it's a 3 card combo for most of the things.
I don't
So
know.
it's
What is the best Mardu commander? Go. That's not a pairing.
freaking what's her name? The Planeswalker. Uh, Dahada. Dahada.
She ain't bad. I
Hmm?
don't know. Oh, God, I
Dahada
don't
just
know, man.
grabs you a crap ton. She's like, oh yeah, make 5 treasures a turn.
But your treasures are vigilant, Will. You get
They're
to attack
vigilant
with
three
them.
threes with haste.
I don't think this is bad. I agree, though. I do agree. Like, it is an outlet in the same way anything else is an outlet, but it's not really offering anything of actual value outside of vigilance and haste. I'm fine with D, but I do like that. I do like that he can animate your treasures or gold. Don't forget about gold tokens.
I
Never mind.
acknowledge
I'm sorry.
that.
It's strictly treasures. Jesus, never mind. This guy cares about one thing.
Yeah, I will acknowledge that theoretically, Cloudstone Curio Dockside is a 2 card combo, but that requires you to have 6 mana, or Dockside makes 6 or more, which is not that consistent.
All right,
So,
guys.
yeah.
A, B, C, or D? That is the widest range that we are going to participate in today's poll. Where do you find Vihan Goldwaker? I don't want to say anything else about it, but I do feel like it sort of snugly fits into one camp. Do we want to talk about little loot first? Or do you want to save loot for last? Let's save loot for last.
Okay, we can do loot for last.
So yeah, let's save loot for last. He's so cute.
All right,
Maybe
well,
even cuter than Kiri.
Riku, the Many Paths. Green, blue, red for a legendary creature, human wizard with 3 power, 3 toughness. Whenever you cast a modal spell, choose up to X, where X is the number of times you chose a mode for that spell. Exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play it. Put a +1/+1 counter on Riku and against trample until end of turn. Create a 1/1 blue bird token with flying. Modal spells aren't really cEDH viable, so I would give this a D in my opinion. I don't think you want to make a modal deck in casual either, just to make birds.
Yeah, just counter your own mana crypt with Swan Song if you want to make a bird. I don't know. I like the other Riku better. Can I say that? Is that fair? This is good art. I'll give it that. It's definitely good art. Look, the birds are even back there, Will. He's making them as we speak. He's popping those birds out right now. Okay, so looking up, Yuma is essentially always 3 mana 6/6, and you win through infinite tokens in either sack or Purpose effects. Titania lines, but 3 color. Best Naya lands equals cEDH, though. Loot is S tier. Well, we're never going to know if we don't talk about loot. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to save loot for last. I do want to talk through this other suck. I keep doing this. I'm so sorry. Oh my god. Imagine if we just lost this tier list. I'd be so upset with myself. Okay. Felix 5 boots.
Oh yeah, I forgot that there's like weird Titania lines that you can potentially do, and
For
Yuma is very similar to Titania. I'll have to look into that. Yuma is probably going to be higher up on the list, but yeah.
so which Titania? Protector of Argoth?
It's the one that makes the 5/3 tokens.
Mm,
That what's it called?
sorry, I've played Ramos Charms. Literally, just use Dragon. Yeah, yeah. How do you? Okay, where do we put Yuma? I'm gonna put him in C for now, and you guys can direct us on Yuma. He's a tough cookie to crack. I don't know the play lines for him. Will, if you're researching something, feel free to continue. But Felix 5 boots, 2 generic, Sultai, Ooze Rogue, 5/4 body, Menace, Ward 2. If a creature you control dealing combat damage to a player causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. D. Yeah.
I'd give him a C. There's a lot of fun things that you can do with combat damage.
You would want a
in
5 you would
Sultai.
want a 5 boots in a casual setting.
Yeah, yeah. He's fun and casual.
Hmm. All right. Yeah, I'm always going to defer to you on that. Okay, we have one more to go before we end that poll. But we've got Gonti, Canny Acquisitor. So, another salty little boy here for 2 generic. 5/5 Etherborn Rogue. Spells you cast but don't own cost 1 less to cast. Well, how can I do that? This doesn't count proxies in concerns to ownership. So you can't just proxy a deck and expect all you're supposed to cast 1 less. But whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, look at the top card of that player's library, then exile it face down. You may play that card as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. So, you play Gonti, and then anything else that's pre-existing can attack. And this will trigger multiple times if you hit multiple players, yes?
Yeah, it's
So,
functionally a Tymna in the command zone that plays off your opponent's decks.
it's Tymna comes down much sooner, so you expect the draw much sooner.
Yeah,
But this is fine. Do you like this?
I think it's good just because cost reduction, better body. Like, it's worse Tymna, but it is still a playable effect. I'd give it like a B, maybe an A.
Um, maybe an A. I can put it at B. It's a little different than Tymna in the fact that you're using your opponent's stuff, but I think it's B tier minimally. Okay. I thought this was a red thing with Ragavan. Oh, exiling the top says no. Everyone gets it now. Everyone gets it, Mateus.
To be
I'll
fair,
leave it to
Sultai has had exile the top cards of your opponent's library effects for a while.
Mhm.
You had the what's it called? Evil Scheme? I don't know the name of that card.
Mm.
Something plot, the X and Sultai just run through people's decks.
They're just making panharmonicons for everything these days. Yeah, pretty much. Okay. I think we can end the poll we have running, though, on our boy Girid over here. Where are we at on this sucker? Or not Girid. Vihan. Vihan D tier? Yeah, that's fair. All right, last one to talk about is Master Loot. Will, do you want to read this one off?
Yeah, loot the key to everything. Green, blue, red for a legendary creature, beast noble with 1 power and 2 toughness and ward 1. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of card types among among other non-land permanents you control. You may play those cards this turn. I'd say loot's probably A, in my opinion, because more likely than not, X is at least going to be 2 on the very first turn that loot's in play. And past that, it's just going to get slowly bigger and bigger, probably to like capping at 4. I don't think you're ever getting higher than 4, but it's mostly going to be 2 for a while until you play your enchantments, and then you either play a planeswalker or a battle at some point, and then you're good from there.
Permanents you control, non-land. He comes down really quickly. He has a little bit of protection. His stats are shit, right? But if you wanted to shock him, you have to pay an additional mana. Yeah, I mean, he just died. He'll die to a Clasm, but I don't frankly think many people run Clasms. Toxic Deluge will do it. Just trying to think of his survivability, but it's a really good value engine. And then if you have multiple upkeeps, oh god, I wish we could use Omeka. Mateus, I know, is very high in this one though, so I'm interested to see. This is Impulse Timna. Yeah. Here, I would love to hear any thoughts in the chat on loot key to everything. I don't disagree. I think that this is an A. I think it's good colors. You are, missing the Tudor suite of, say, black, but are there any fun utilities to incorporate in this list that care about you casting things from exile? I can't think of very many commanders that... outside of Rakdos that really do this. So I'm wondering if there's any utilities that I'm just not thinking of that work really well in tandem with Lewd. But I mean, it's just value. It's just card value. That's the only way to really consider it. My only concern is that, you could play lands this way, but you only get to do this for this turn. I wish it lasted a rotation, but does that make it bad? I don't know. The thumbnail says we put him in S tier, but I don't know if he's S tier. Okay, so very cool card.
I think he's just good enough for A tier because it's a self-protecting Timna that doesn't require that you attack.
What are the best lines of play in these colors? What are you doing in Teamer? Is that what this is?
Either Dockside or Breach. Those are like the two main things that you're probably doing as a win con.
Dockside what? Just in...
Like Dockside loops for infinite mana, then find an outlet. Breach Intuition is probably the best line that you're actually going to want to run, though.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Red green doesn't really have much.
You probably play the creature tutor battle, at least. Yeah, for sure. It's also interesting with Urza. I'll be testing this. I'm a Teamer fan, though. A lot of impulse support in Rakdos, sadly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Are you tied for treasures? I think he is A. I think he's A as well. I just sent you a deck list. Thank you, Mateus. Storm is interesting with Song of Creation. Card draw is really good. Low mana, really good. Can't go wrong. This can just be a value mander. You don't have to run any support. No, I know, Version. I'm just thinking, like, seeing as we have the opportunity, because I usually see this like by way of Prosper or by way of Captive Kingpin. Like it's usually Rakdos, like red and black. So red, blue, and green. I was just thinking, like, is there any fun sub strategy that you could just have that supplements this character? But basically, like, what it boils down to is just value. So it doesn't quite matter how you angle it. It's so good with Hull, Breacher, and Mox. Brain freeze lines, yeah. It assembles lines so easily. Loot with new bear. So my concern, I guess, is that what if you exile a playline card that you can't cast? But I mean, it's at the beginning of your upkeep, so you have I don't know. I feel like this guy might bite you in the ass at some point too. It's also interesting with a Seedborn. If you want to go mid-range. All right, I'm happy to put it in A. I'm just trying to see if there's an argument to put this sucker in S. But
probably not in S, but I'd say definitely good enough for A.
Definitely good enough for A. I think this is more S-tier commanders than we've ever seen. Hull Breacher, Hull Breaker, same name. Hull Breaker. Name me a hull breaker. This guy. Return target spell you don't control to its owner's hand. Return non-land permanent to its owner's hand. This is good with hull breaker. In what sense? It's just a deck that wants to run a hull breaker combo.
Yeah.
Just a good value commander. All right, guys, I get it. Just a good value commander. All right. I mean, I'm happy with that. I feel like that's pretty good value, low cost, high cast requirement, but I don't think it'll be difficult to get there, especially being in green. You'll just play the turn 1 Dork or turn 1 Utopia Sprawl or Carpet of Flowers or whatever and get the fixing you need to pay for the other colors. I could see you pretty easily putting loot down on turn 2, but the thing is, you're only really getting value out of loot on turn 3 at that point, so I don't know, Will. It's fine. It's fine. As someone who plays Prosper with Wild Wasteland, exiling for 1 turn each turn can sting a lot if you hit a combo card and aren't ready. Plus have no time to set up, right? And that's sort of where my concern is, but I don't play Prosper, so I'm not quite sure, you know, how frequently those instances actually occur. Again, it's important to note it's very much an impulse draw. You could take infinite turns with the new combo, but so can anyone else. That has blue. Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, I think we're square here, guys.
Yeah.
So I'm going to... Oh, sorry?
I also looked through the Yuma combos, and I still stand by what I said of Yuma's like D, maybe C.
Damn. All right. Yeah, we can throw Yuma back down. So the boy Yuma back down. Put him next to his cacti friend, though, Kiri. So, guys, that's it for our Outlaws of Thunder Junction tier list. Thanks for hanging for the whole stream. If you were here for the whole stream, I know a lot of people were coming in and out, but this was a fun one. There were a lot of legendaries from the set and a lot of really good ones. I think this is, again, the most S-tier legendaries that we've collectively come to from a set. Satoru, the Infiltrator, and Stella Lee wild card. Not so much a wild card, just a very good card. Of 5 A-ranked legendaries with Lazov, Flint, Roxanne, the Gitrog, and Loot, and a plentiful amount of Bs and Cs all around. But along with that, a lot of Ds. But I think that this was a really good pool of cards, this set, and I'm excited to brew for a lot of these. I'm actually kind of interested in Kumball, but very interested in Satoru. So you can expect to see us brew that soon. I feel like Stella Lee is probably going to be brewed to high heaven, but that doesn't mean we can't tackle it. If that's something you want to do, Will. If Lazov was S, we would have gotten 2 S's from the last set. Okay. It's the same with Timna. It takes time, and she is S tier. Timna is definitely good by virtue of the fact that she's a partner and very easily castable. You know, I think Loot is fine. Ward 1 can't be scoffed at either. So I like it. I want to see the Satoru list for sure. Yeah, I definitely want to build Satoru. Satoru is the new Rona. Satoru is the new Rona?
The dumb storm commander that combos off out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what they mean.
Yeah, I think they're kind of doing different ththings. I understand what you're saying, though. It's like it fits that same niche. Yeah, I like Satoru a whole hell of a lot. I want to be definitely playing him. I honestly feel like doing that with like some ninjutsu strategy, or I'm trying to think of any other ways. I want to like have supplemental stuff in there, but maybe it's a bridge too far. But much better. Yeah. Tiny Bones should have been made a partner. That would have been really cool.
If Tiny Bones had partner, he'd be so insane.
I'll do a screenshot right now. Don't mind me, guys. But I want to get a copy of this for posterity. And I'll post this to the community tab over on the YouTube page if you guys just want to refer to this later. But I'll also start sharing these over in our Discord as well, in case you weren't able to attend the full live stream. You guys can see our reasoning for all of this in the video, obviously. But guys, that's it for our tier list guide. Did we get them all right? I don't know. I feel like we definitely take enough time with these to be thorough. And thank you guys for all your commentary on this one. it's always a fun discussion looking at legendaries from new sets and getting to explore them thoroughly with one another. You know, for as long as I've been playing this game, I certainly miss a lot of things. So it is very, very handy having everyone's collective voice on this. But Will, any thoughts on the set as a whole? Anything you want to say about Stella Lee?
Yeah, Stella Lee's gonna be just a broken and disgusting commander.
I'm pretty stoked for that.
If you have a commander that has like 15 different unique combos in the deck that combo with your commander, then there's gonna be problems.
With Mox Opal, Retraction Helix, and Banishing Knack, yeah. Satoru Hullbreaker Horror is good as well.
Name something that's not good with Satoru. Let's be honest. Like great
Yeah.
with flickers, like, great with reanimates, great with casting free spells, great with all the bounce combos, great with literally everything.
That's going to be next Friday, for sure.
Yeah.
But stay tuned for setup streams for next week. I should be, again, I'll be out of town, but I should be back to do Satoru on Friday. I want to get back into the rhythm of producing One Piece on Wednesdays, pre-recorded likely. Just some deck text for the current set we're on. Obviously, I would like to do more sorcery. That'll be on Saturdays. I'd like to have those be more community driven. So if you are a fan of sorcery and you're over on the Discord, I encourage you to reach out to me if you want to play some games or do some deck text / games. But I'm just interested in getting more sorcery in for sure. And also, again, I've said this multiple times, but I do want to discuss Star Wars in the not too distant future. However, Magic will remain on Fridays, obviously, and I like handling deck techs the most. So if there's any deck strategies you want to talk about for upcoming legendaries or recently released ones, again, Discord's a good spot to chat with us about those. But also YouTube. Sometimes I'll run a community post if there's a lot of legendaries that we're interested in brewing for. But it sounds like Satoru and Stella Lee are the ones. I'm not going to lie, though. Again, Kambal and Roxanne are really, really calling me too. And maybe we handle Flint if Will doesn't just crush that himself. Mirren Spy, Emery, blah, 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 blah. The only real question is Stella the best? Is it option?
Probably. Just because Stella draws so many cards and gives so much extra value. Because let's say you don't hit one of the untapped draw effects, you're still going to be copying Brainstorm, name a cantrip. It's at least one extra draw, on top of the fact that you're also going to be doing the impulse draws off Stella Lee. So
yeah,
Stella draws really hard, comes out really early, and then either lets you win counter wars with the second effect or combo off with the second effect. So Stella's insane.
Yeah, copy target instant sorcery spell. Copy target instant sorcery spell you control, you may choose no target, so copy it only if you cast more spells. That's true. Man, if it was yeah, no, she's good. I don't think they need to make her any better. That's pretty solid. I was thinking, like, man, if it was just if 3 or more spells were cast this turn, that would be crazy. If I just need to rely on other people casting shit and then I can copy something, amazing. But it's fair that it's
dumb.
I know. I'm like, it's fair that it's structured this way. Thank God. I feel like Stella tickles Will's Zada brain. Yeah, I think so too. Probably. She's definitely better than other Storm options. I do think she's way up there. But guys, thanks for joining us on this one. Again, as I say always at the end of these videos or near enough the middle, if you enjoyed this stream, please leave it a like. It goes a long way in helping to push this video to other people. But we'll see you on the next one. I gotta eat dinner. My eating schedule is so awful. I eat at the weirdest hours. Swear to God. I had like my first meal today at like 2:30.
Me stepping out was me checking on a pizza that I cooked, and I'm like, oh, I can at least pull this out and set this to the side. But then I was like, oh, it didn't rise properly. That's weird. It's probably expired or some weird gluten-free version that I didn't realize it was. But
sorry, man. No tiny bones. There were tiny bones, Gene. There's tiny bones to be seen. I'll share again I'll go ahead and share this tier list in our community post in a second.
We put tiny bones in D, correct?
I think we did. I'm sorry. Sorry, Gene. But maybe, look for the reasoning.
Because you can do some things.
Oh, we did. I think we maybe said C.
99 by a mile.
I think we maybe said C. No, we definitely said D for Dones. Okay. See you guys. That was fun.
Yeah.